Okay. Midsommar. This is a fucking dense movie, Dorian.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I
I've
watched
prepared.
I watched the director's cut this time because I hadn't seen the
Yeah,
director's
good.
cut.
I
Um,
assumed you would. I was going
and
to ask, but I
yeah,
thought, no, of course they will.
yeah,
Of course they
yeah.
will. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
When I first saw it, it was had like a limited screening. I saw it at I think it was one of the cinemas in Newmarket. That was there was a screening for that on, and I was
Mm-hmm.
going to a
Mm-hmm.
gig at the Triffid later that night anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go see Midsummer and then walk to the Triffid from there. So because I'm like, I loved Hereditary. I need more from this guy.
Yeah, of course.
Midsummer,
Same.
yes,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like after it came out, I rewatched it. But that was still
Mm.
like the theatrical release, and I hadn't watched it since. And this time around, I watched the director's cut. I'm like, oh my God, director's cut's so worth the
Okay.
extended runtime.
I haven't seen anything but. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm glad that's the case. I
Mm,
don't see a need to change that. Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's a great cut. I don't want
Yeah,
anything
it really
taken
is.
out
Yeah.
of what I've seen. Yes, or
Yeah.
changed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I dig this film. I dig this film.
Mm,
Definitely.
yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. Shall we start? Because yeah, we've got, as I
Yeah.
say, it's dense, and we've got a lot to get
Yes.
through. A lot to get through. Yes. Because this is a 2 hour and 50 minute yeah, duration. We're looking at their children.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, so this is what we're doing. We're at tier two there, Children of the Popcorn, Horror Iceberg. Welcome back there, Dorian. Thank you for joining us. Of course, as always, and we're doing Midsommar by Ari Aster. We're getting fancy. This is the first time I
Yeah.
think we've got
Yeah.
fancy.
Mm. I really
Uh,
like his style. I haven't watched Beau is
so do
Afraid
I. So do I.
because
Neither.
yeah, I haven't watched that one
Yeah.
yet because it's like so long. And from what I've
Hmm.
seen, it's not
Hmm.
as much like the kind of horror like
It's
Hereditary and
a
Midsummer is.
it's a
I'll get around to
meditation.
it. Mm,
It's a meditation on anxiety. It's a
yeah.
meditation on anxiety. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but
I've
that's
watched
what
the
it is. Yeah.
first like 20 minutes of it. And then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh shit, this movie is really fucking long. I don't have the time to do that right now.
Sure.
Another one by Ari Aster. It's on YouTube and it's like 30 minutes long, but it's actually really fucked up. Is called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
Mhm, mhm,
It's fucked
mhm,
up because there is
mhm.
sexual abuse happening within this family dynamic,
Yeah,
but
heads up. Yeah, but
it's
it's worth it.
fucked.
If you like fucked
Yeah,
up shit,
yeah.
oh,
It's on
top
YouTube and it's only
tier.
half an hour.
Ah, good God.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Oh boy.
Ah, yeah. What is he, Polish?
I don't know.
But he's white,
Yeah.
like European white, and what
Mm.
he touches on and plays with
Yeah.
in that short is incredible.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Um, yeah, it will ruin your day basically, but
Mm.
it's worth it. Yeah. And
Yes.
I love Hereditary. I
Yeah.
think Hester's quite a genius. I will watch
Mm.
Beau is Afraid at some point.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, what's better, Hereditary or Midsummer? Where do
Um,
you sit on with that
I
classic debate?
personally, yeah. They're both really, really good movies, really.
Hmm.
But because the themes and essentially like the genre of them is so different, even though they're both horror movies, like their subcategory is very different. So it for me, it really just comes down to personal preference, in
Yeah,
terms of what
yeah,
subcategory
sure.
I prefer. So I prefer Hereditary, but I still fucking love Midsummer.
Hmm. Hmm. I think I'm finally with you there because I
Mm,
was with Midsummer for quite a while.
yeah.
And it's dark, dark versus night. Sorry, what am I saying?
Yeah.
Day versus night
Yes.
with these two, which we'll
Mm,
explain as we go in. But yeah. It depends what you're in the mood for, I think.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think Hereditary has a little more impact.
Yes.
If gun to the head,
Yeah.
yes, I would go with Hereditary. But I
Mm.
fucking love this film as well.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Won't go too far into these questions as we've got a lot to get through. But I am serious though. This is the first fancy film. This is the first piece of elevated
Mm.
horror.
Yes.
Yes, you've got The Conjuring came close to it, I would argue. Um, the whole elevated horror that came along in the 2010s, yes,
Mm.
with the company A24,
Yeah.
who I'm not sure what they did in terms of everything, but this is an A24 movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Um,
I think Ari
all that,
Aster's
yeah,
yeah, Ari Aster's work with and it being with like A24, I think was what put that production company on the map for a lot of people.
sure. Okay, yeah, yeah, that
Because
makes
as far as I
sense.
know, like
That
stuff
makes
that
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably from Hereditary happening and everyone being like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? And
Uh-huh.
then yeah.
Did the
Because I've
witch,
obviously gone on and done a whole bunch of other stuff since, but like I
did
feel that
the,
yeah, The Witch I
did this
feel was a little bit
predate?
more.
Did it
No, The Witch
predate
came out
release?
before. Yeah, The Witch came out before Hereditary.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that The Witch is probably a little bit more people who are into horror know about The Witch, maybe not so much people outside of that. But then Hereditary kind of broke into like mainstream
Sure.
stuff, at the
Okay.
very least in relation to
Okay.
all the memes and all that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And there's Midsummer memes. This is a meme heavy
oh yeah,
movie, of
yes.
course. Yeah. 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 Crazy. So, this brought the popularity of uh popularity. A lot of people hate it as well, though.
Mm,
It's a very contested site
mm.
for horror. Yeah. I love it personally.
Yeah, oh,
It's
same.
pretty much where I land if there was going to be a favorite, a preference. As long as it's not too wanky, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can get a bit too pretentious. And then other times it's a little
Yeah.
bit too on the nose. It's like, okay, like you could
Hmm.
try to delve into like make that metaphor a little bit more in depth than this. Like
Hmm.
you're barely like
Yeah.
pretending that it's something other than what it is you're doing. And like we can move on from like elevated horror that is about grief.
Yeah.
Almost every single elevated horror thing in some way or another, it's about grief or trauma.
Yeah,
That's
100%,
it. Things
100%.
that we can explore within this format.
It's the tears that fuel A24. You know what I mean? The
Mm,
engines of
yeah.
A24 are fueled by the trauma of the tears that these movies
Yes.
cause. Yeah, absolutely. Um, but I prefer this to Blumhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they kind of have gone along in parallel in the past 10, 15 years, I think. Yeah.
Mm,
They've had the supernatural versus the art horror. There's kind of art house horror, if that's fair to say. I'm being very generic and
yeah.
umbrella
Mm,
with that. But and A24 do other stuff, but they're famous for and Hereditary has been a flagship. Is that the word? I think.
yeah.
Yeah, movie.
Mm,
Yeah, for them. And this one as a night it comes in as a nice accompaniment. Yeah.
mm, yeah.
Because it's a second one there. Yeah, if you didn't know their children. Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's all good. I'm a fan of all of this stuff of A24 and Ari Aster, etc., etc. So I'm glad this did come in to the iceberg discussions. Um, I will bring up the base. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or should we just get into it? I could say
Yeah,
it
let's get
was
into it. Yeah.
people know this movie. Have a look at
Mm,
the Wikipedia if you want the production stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
It's written and directed by Ari Aster. Yeah, no, he
Yes.
basically
Mm,
oversees all of the creative shit he does. Yeah,
yeah.
that's just he's an auteur. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Not an arsehole though. He's not a
Yeah.
tryant.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
saw in
this
in
is a
an interview
Spielberg
with yeah.
situation. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't.
I saw
Hold
in an
on,
interview with
got
him
typing.
Yeah, one of the
Mm.
movies that really inspired him with his style is The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
Oh, Peter
And
Greenaway.
yeah, and when I watched
Yeah,
that movie,
okay.
I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
Mm.
I can see it. Yep. That movie's
That's cool.
gorgeous.
I watched that movie religiously as a kid. Well,
Mm,
as a kid, as a
yeah.
teenager. Yeah.
Mm,
That one. And do you know Ken Russell's Gothic?
yes.
Yes, and I watched that and that. They were pretty much my
Yeah.
two favorites for a good 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
years, those two. Yeah. So that's cool to know.
Mm,
I recommend seeing more Peter Greenaway movies if you haven't,
mm,
Dorian. Yeah, if
yeah.
you dug that. The Baby
I'll
of
look into
Marcon,
it.
The Baby of Marcon, Macon. It's
Mm,
very, very elegant, very pretty, very what would you say, Renaissance, yeah,
mhm,
garb aesthetic, etc. But very brutal and disgusting
mm.
though as well.
Ah,
Yes.
excellent.
And a very carnal, corpulent fashion. Yeah,
Mm,
it's cool.
oh.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Peter Greenaway. Certainly was. He's an early foundation for me, that guy. Yeah.
Mm,
So that's good to hear. And it is kind of harkening back to that kind of stuff, this new school of
mm,
Roger Eggers, yeah.
yeah.
Um, Rose Glass, who did Saint Maud and who has now
Mm,
done Love Lies Bleeding, which is
yeah.
getting a lot of acclaim. I haven't seen it, but she's of that tone, if you will.
Mm, yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I'm digging it, and it's as well as sorry things like It, the new It,
Mm,
and the
yeah.
spirit of that sort of shit. This sort of stuff has helped horror to be as ubiquitous as it is now. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
and still be kicking, alive and kicking. So I dig it. All right, Midsommar, Ari Aster, 2019. Yeah,
Yes.
A24. Yeah. Okay. Opens with a shot of the main tapestry. Sorry, I'll try and these are my notes. I'll try and word them more elegantly as we go along. But you know the tapestry that I mean, yeah?
Mm, yeah. And
Yeah.
I love that opening tapestry. Like it stays on that for long enough that you can get a good look at it. It's very, very
Hmm.
detailed. And it essentially
Hmm.
it's as though it's going through all the seasons and all this stuff is happening in it. But on
Hmm.
first watch,
Hmm.
you don't know. But
Hmm.
if you go back and rewatch it after you've seen the movie and you know everything that plays out in the movie, that opening tapestry is the entirety of the movie. It is depicting the events that take place over the course of the whole movie, which is really
Yes.
cool.
In panels or acts, if you
Mm,
will. And there's a lot of that in this movie. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of that in this movie. Which was also done in Hereditary in a different way,
Yeah.
more sparsely, to put it
Mm,
simply. Yeah,
yeah.
for now. Um, but yeah, that I like his style of doing this sort of thing, and
Yeah.
he also researches his ass off
Mm,
as well. Yeah, so none
yeah.
of it's just because he thinks it looks cool.
Yeah.
Everything's intentional. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to just attempt to screen share. Da-da. All right, this is just a test run. Bear with me a moment there,
thank
children.
you.
Dorian, can you tell me now, can you see Gentilly? Is she
Yes,
waving
I
at you?
can. Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. That is from Scream Dreams podcast. Yes. Just to shout out there. And because I want to implement more screen sharing.
Mm.
So that was just a test. So is that stop screen sharing? No, it
It's
hasn't.
still there right now. Yeah. Ah, there
Yeah.
you go. It stopped. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, because I want to put in some images as we
Mm.
go. Okay. Now we are at the Ardor residence. That is
Mm.
Ardor, which is a Latin the word is a Latin derivation, meaning flame, heat, etc.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, which I found out, which is a nice little tidbit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that is Danny Ardor, played by Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Along with Blumhouse 824, there's also been a whole lot more Scream Queens that have come along, yeah. Anna
Yeah.
Taylor-Joy, Coleman, Mia Goth, and here we have Florence Pugh, who does a
Mm.
lot more than horror, but has done some very significant horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this one. Are you a fan of the Pugh?
Um, I'm trying to think what I'm pretty
Um,
sure there was
mhm.
another movie that I saw years before this one came out that had her as the main character, and it
Maybe
took a long time for me to
Macbeth.
clock.
Was it
No,
Macbeth? Some version of Macbeth, whatever it's
it was
called.
another horror movie. I don't know, can't remember. But yeah, pretty much it's just Midsommar for me. So I haven't watched any of her other stuff really. So I liked her
Okay.
performance in this. So
No, she's good. She's good. This is one of my favorites of hers. It was
yeah,
absolutely, no, of course. Um, okay. Okay. So, and then we've got the answering machine at night. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, and that basically pertains to the scary email from Sister Terry.
yeah.
This is Danny's
So
sister
sis,
Terry.
yes. Her
Yeah.
sister's bipolar, and this isn't the first
Hmm.
time she's
Hmm.
done this kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
Danny's basically just trying to get in contact with her. Like, I'm really concerned about this email that you sent me. Message me back. Trying to get in contact with her parents. Trying to get in contact with everyone.
Okay. Yes, so that's yes. Thank you for the okay. So yes, cut to Danny reading the email and paraphrasing. I just can't anymore. I'm going, mum and dad are coming to
Yeah.
goodbye. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So Danny calls Christian. This is the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name is Christian. First, okay, so and on this phone in this phone call, you get the first taste of distance within their
Mm.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a running theme
Mm.
throughout. Excuse me. Okay, so they're discussing hanging out later and the behavior of the sister. Um, okay, what did you feel about the relationship in general without giving away too much details of the plot? These two, yeah, while
Um,
I have some water.
yeah. It's a very unhealthy relationship. Like Christian's too self-centered and wishy-washy, and Danny's too much of a people pleaser. So
Mm, mm,
that's a relationship summed up.
mhm, mhm. Um, is it toxic or typical?
It's extremely unhealthy.
Mm, mhm. Oh, typical is not the word. Is there a sense of realism to it?
Oh yeah, that relationships like that exist in real life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
So
agree. I agree. Because I don't know if you're aware, this is his breakup movie, Ari Aster.
yeah.
Yeah.
He has said this is a breakup movie. I think he
Hmm.
was going through a breakup or something while he was writing it.
He was going through
Yeah.
what just what had just happened pretty
Mm.
much. But
Yeah.
he puts himself in Danny's shoes, not
Mm.
Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he wants it to be known as he wants to be that's what he wants it to be. Its legacy is to be known as
Mm.
a breakup movie that people
Yeah.
go to, they turn to, yeah, for really bad breakups.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. Um, okay, yeah, no, I think I pretty much, yeah, agree,
Mm.
agree. I don't like Christian. Danny
Yeah.
can be a bit much, sure.
Mm.
I don't know if it's my fandom of Pugh. Fandom's a bit strong, but I
Mm.
do like Pugh.
Yeah.
I've seen her in other stuff. She's a great actor. And she does British cooking on Instagram
Oh.
because she is British and such. And she's
Yeah.
really she's fun and just kind of
Mm.
goofy and silly
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, no, she's cool. She doesn't take herself seriously at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that clouds my vision of Daddy's character. I do like her maybe more than I should in terms of how she's portrayed.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of Christian's actions in this movie, the
Mm.
choices he makes, doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly when you get to the end, you go, yeah, okay, yeah, go, just go.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, for me, by the end of it, I'm just feeling real bad for him. Like, he didn't, like, yeah, sure, he's a shitty boyfriend. And he needs to pull
Mhm.
his head out of his ass, but that doesn't mean that he deserves what happens to him.
Okay, interesting, interesting. Yeah. Okay, we'll put a pin in that for now until we
Yeah.
get there. Until we get there. Yeah, it's quite an ending. This is another horror movie with quite
Yes.
an ending. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
iconic.
yeah. Okay. Danny calls friend to complain, expresses concern about relationship with Christian. Yeah, this is where that's when I wrote anti-rom-com.
Yeah.
Boys at the diner discussing their relationship.
One of Christian's friends is there basically saying, like, I don't know why you're still with her. You've been wanting to break up with her for like a year now. What are you doing? Christian's there just being like, oh no, like, what if I break up with her and I just realize that, like that was the wrong choice to make. That's why I haven't tried anything. So he doesn't know what he's doing in his life. He's directionless, which is like a common, it's not just in terms of his relationship with Danny, because they're like anthropology students, and
Yeah,
at least a couple of
yeah.
them are working on their PhD, their thesis for that. And Christian hasn't decided what the topic of his thesis is going to be. He has no idea yet. And so that ends up becoming an issue as well, him showing kind of person that he is. But yeah, and then
Yeah,
they've got a
kind of
friend.
person that, yes, he's
Yeah.
very unmotivated, bit of a wet
Mm,
blanket, wet
yeah.
flannel. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
then they're basically just talking shit about Danny because she's there trying to like get in contact with
especially
Christian.
Mark.
Mark is
Especially
such an arsehole. I hate Mark. But he's like, oh, like she's calling you all the time. She's really, distressed and everything. And he's there, and Mark is there saying, no, what she's doing right now, that's abuse. This is literally abusive behavior. And I'm like, no, it isn't. Shut up.
Okay, and then there's Pele, the Swab
Yes, the
Swede.
Swedish guy.
The Swab Swede.
Yes.
And then we have
And
Joshua.
Josh, yes. He's the one who actually he knows what it is that he's doing for his thesis. And so he
Yes.
actually has direction. That's played by William Jackson Harper, and I know him as Chidi from The Good Place.
As do I.
Yes.
Yes, he's great, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
He is an asshole in his own way in this movie,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
He just has the charming veneer,
Yeah. He's able to be a little bit more diplomatic about it.
He uses his class to his advantage as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the group. That's the group. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're at the diner. Danny calls. Mark says, oh God, not again. She needs therapy. It's a whole thing. The guys aren't happy. And he answers the phone and she's wailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is wailing. This is where the trauma and the grief begins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then we cut to the suicide house, and I mentioned the strings. Yeah.
I love the way the camera moves through the house and slowly reveals everything that has happened. It's so well done.
Absolutely. Yeah. With the firemen at first, but then gets in front and comes around and sees them seeing everything. Yeah. I also liked how the strings replaced the noises of what you're seeing, how there's that gas leak that you see. And rather than hearing that hiss isn't the word, but there's that, but it is, it's represented by the strings in an abstract fashion, sure. But and he does that a lot in this movie, in certain parts anyway. Audio and visual cues are fucked with, the associations are fucked with, sometimes through Danny's perception, we're seeing it, and sometimes it's through us watching Danny go through it,
Yeah.
but we're sharing with it, through that.
Mm.
It's really well done. He's really
Yeah.
fucking, it would take a long time to explain
Yeah.
everything, and
Yes.
also to research everything, to touch on
Mm.
everything that's hinted at in a religious
Mm.
Swedish, tradition,
Yeah.
folklore, and all that is seen in this movie. It'd have to be a series unto itself. Yeah, would
Yeah.
you agree with Midsummer?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can only really hint at it, skim at it along the top, really, by going through the plot. Otherwise, yeah, we've got other movies to get to through to the iceberg on the iceberg. We've both seen
Yes.
Midsummer more than once. Yeah. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But a shout out to Spickerman Movies. I do recommend, because I watched his thing. It gave me a bit of insight into this,
Oh,
certainly this moment,
mm.
this scene, this
Yeah.
open suicide house. Yeah. Spickerman Movies on YouTube. Check him out. He's brilliant. Okay. Yes, 5 minutes into house and witness scene. Parents are body bagged, zip, and we see Terry dead in her dead form, as in she
Yeah.
has a pipe strapped to,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
severely
She's,
taped to
yeah.
her face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because so
Mhm,
she's basically shut the garage door and left the
mhm,
car running and filled up with gas from all that. And then the camera kind of makes its way through the house and follows this tubing. So essentially she has brought this
mm,
tubing up.
mm,
I'm assuming that she's pumped that gas into the parents' bedroom while they're sleeping.
I
And that's how
guess,
she's
yeah.
killed them.
Yeah, because she
But
that
basically,
like with
yeah,
her
it's essentially a
email
murder suicide. That's what's happened.
when she said
Yeah,
mum and dad are coming too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what
So
that's what
she's,
she meant. Yeah.
yeah, so she has committed murder suicide. She's killed both of her
Mhm.
parents and also killed herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Mum and dad were like, oh, that's a great idea, love.
Yeah,
You guys set
yeah.
it up, we'll see what
We'll all go
happens.
together, and you know what,
Ah.
Danny, you can fuck off. You're not invited to the
Mm.
death party.
Yeah, that's the secret of it. That's the actual trauma
Yeah,
of this movie that she got left down.
yeah.
Um, but what did you reckon of this? Is it a cold open? Because we get a bit of we
Yes.
do get a bit of info. Does it still stand as a
Mm.
cold open?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
I won't argue that. That doesn't matter.
yeah.
What do you think of it?
I loved it. Like when I saw it in
Mm,
cinemas and like
it's
that's
phenomenal,
the
isn't it?
opening. Yeah, and I'm
Mm,
like, this is just
mm,
the opening of this movie.
mm.
What the fuck am I gonna be in for?
It's 12 minutes till we get to the
Mm,
credits. Yeah, 12
yeah,
minutes. Yeah, yeah. And with the credits coming, oh yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Um, and it's not that far from the credits from here. Their body
Mm,
bag, we see Terry in her dead form. Keep that in mind, though. I do mention the
mm,
pipe across the
yeah,
face, yes, and the
mm,
eyes, yeah, because that
yeah.
comes back
That
into
comes up.
play. Yeah, yeah. Parents, 4 unread emails from Danny's scene
Mm,
on laptop. Here as the camera moves
yeah.
up just up from Terry's body onto the desk there. Cut to Christian comforting and wailing Danny on the couch, and we zoom in slowly past them through the window to snow falling
Mm,
outside at night. It's all very black metal.
yeah.
And we have the strings again and the credits at 12 minutes. Yeah.
Mm,
And it's a great opening.
yeah.
What can I say? It's one of the best I've ever seen, definitely. It's up there for me. Next day, party at the college. Party is not really a party,
Mm,
it's a gathering,
yeah.
it's quiet, it's
Yeah.
very reserved. But the group trip to Sweden is revealed to
Mm,
Danny.
yeah.
And so we see that more cracks in the relationship are formed, yes, because she wasn't told about it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a midsummer festival in a Swedish village that the group there has been introduced to. We introduced the group before at the diner. Christian is blatantly lying,
Mm,
and his response to Danny hearing him.
yeah.
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 This becomes, you realize this is second nature for
Mm,
Christian
yeah.
to lie to Danny.
Mm.
But Danny confronts him back home. He already has a ticket. Of course he does. He then fakes surprises. Oh, I had two
And like,
tickets.
her problem with it isn't the fact that he's going.
Please,
It's the fact
go.
that she doesn't know. It's the fact
Yeah,
that
of
he has
course.
not told her about
Mm.
this. And he's making this big issue, making it into something that it isn't. And then she just kind of backs down and says like, no, I'm sorry, because again, he's too self-absorbed and she's too much of a people pleaser. And that's why their relationship dynamic is the way that it is. Because anytime there's some kind of issue, he immediately just kind of like, you're the problem, not me. Like you're always, getting on me, and he gets really defensive all the time. And then she just immediately backs down and says, oh no, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, blah, 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 and just invalidates herself. Like that's their relationship over the entire thing.
Yeah. And do you think it's been how long do you think it's been like this before this chain of events? This plot?
I mean,
because there is the death of the parents, yes. So that is,
I mean, he apparently had been wanting to break up with her for like a year. And now, obviously, he's definitely not going to be doing it now because everything that has just happened, like, no, now is not the time. So he's definitely not going to be trying to break up with her now. But he's been wanting out of that relationship for at least a year. They've been together for a little bit over 4 years. That's what Danny says later. And Christian doesn't even know how long they've been together during that conversation. But so
yeah, that's funny.
who knows how long it's been going on for, but
4
probably
years,
for quite
2
some
weeks.
time.
4 years, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
And Christian's there saying like 3 years or something like that, I think.
3.5,
which is a massive difference.
3.5
It's
years,
a massive difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, they're awkward as fuck. That's why, when I message you, God, this is a shit relationship that I'm watching here. Yeah. So uncomfortable. But that's what it is. But you are right that this does exist. I've been through it in my own fashion. Yes, full curtain pull. Yeah. So and it is awkward and just icky. Watching it, and they both portray it very well. They both portray their roles very well. Definitely.
There's a scene later on.
I think it's equally weighted. One's not made to look too more dickheady than the other.
There's a scene later on where they're having a bit of an argument. And it's in the director's cut. It's not in the theatrical cut. But like like that scene and their little like argument that they had there. I'm like, I hate watching this right now. This feels too real.
No, I'm with you.
Christian just being there, like accusing her of like literally every nice thing that you do, you always have some ulterior motive to it. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
and children of the popcorn out there who don't like romantic movies about relationships and couples, neither do we. So I'm assuming I can speak for you in that sense, in a general sense. Or you do, or is there something you'd like to share?
I'm not a rom-com person. Like, as in like the fucked up toxic relationships in Interview with the Vampire. Like, I'm so fucking on board with that shit, and I need more of that.
No, absolutely.
But like, that's the extent of like romance in
York
movies
fairy
for
tale
me.
rom-com. The New York fairy tale, all that shit. Nah, neither. Nah.
Give me the fucked up toxic stuff.
Absolutely. But this is integral to this movie. It's disintegration. Yes. It's slow. It's disintegration and manipulation of the forces surrounding them. Is integral to this whole thing, and they both portray it very well. So there's nothing cringy about it. Yes, they're children. There's no cringe factor here. Okay. He already has a ticket. The fake surprise for 2 tickets. That was utter bullshit. I wanted to slap him at that point. Back at the dorm, Danny is visiting, and Christian reveals to the group. Okay, we cut back to the dorm with the group. Danny is visiting, and Christian reveals to the group before she comes up. She's going to come up in the elevator that she is coming to Sweden, and all you guys are happy with it, and you act like it. Not demanding at all.
Because Christians are like, oh, about that, like, I invited her, but she's not going to come. And they're like, oh, so she doesn't want to go. And it's like, oh, no, but like, so he invited her, just to placate her and not deal with this argument. But then to his friends, he's like, I don't actually want her to come. But like, so even though I invited her, she's not actually coming.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It's
oh
such
my
a
God.
he can never
Like,
make an
fucking
actual
hell.
clear decision with
Yeah.
anything he's saying, even in the moment, and
Yeah.
certainly not in the moment. And when he talks to others, certainly Danny, it's always accusatory and putting them as to blame,
Yeah.
even when there's nothing that was being brought up for anyone to be blamed about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got this power to do that, this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good performance of a cunt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very frustrating to watch.
That's for me. That's for me. That's
Yeah.
for me. Wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right. Before we put a pin in it here, because I'm going to get my vape upstairs. I left it upstairs, so I know you're going to kill me. She's going to kill me. Okay. And then because we're going to go into the village and Midsommar and whatnot, because yeah, Pallet, she sits down on the couch with Pallet. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me 30 seconds. He's back now. Yes, they're talking in private on the couch. Everyone's just left the room for the moment. Yes, everyone's kind. The relationship with the group with Christian's friends for Danny is awkward.
Because essentially, like, they're not Danny's friends.
No,
they're
not.
Her boyfriend's friends.
Palais is the nicest to her, the most egregious to her. And he explains that what they're going to in Sweden, in the village of Hågar. Yeah? Pronunciation?
I think they pronounce it like Hagar.
Is it Hagar or Hågar?
Yeah, Hagar.
Okay, Hagar? Okay, that's fine. I'll go with that. It's set in the Swedish village of, Hagar, because once every 90 years. It's in Sweden, and there's multiples of 9 throughout this film there, Dorian. Yeah, you notice that? Okay, it's just Aster's style. It's what he likes. It's what he gets off on. He shows you the solstice outfits. And these are the ominous flowers, yes. And the all-in-white.
May Queen.
The May Queen, yes. Look, and this has been very popular, very memed to this day, and still used as Halloween costumes to this day, absolutely. And it's Florence Pugh's still most personal, precious role to her. Still the favorite thing that she's done. She's got a tattoo. I don't know of what, but it relates to Midsommar somehow. Yeah.
It's the little like maypole thing.
Okay, cool. So Aster's no worry there. He's an auteur, but he's not a Kubrick. So that was last year's May Queen. That's a photo. Keep that in mind. He also brings up the fact that it's sorry, I jumped ahead there. Now, is this the beginning of Palais's plan? He also brings up his dead parents in the fire, before Danny freaks and leaves the room.
He says, he says
going
to
along
Danny
that
conspiratorial he says to Danny that like he really wants her to come. He thinks, like she'll really enjoy it, all that kind of stuff, like, oh, this is something that's really important to me and I want all my friends to come with me and I especially want you to come along. So maybe he knows that she's feeling in a particularly emotionally vulnerable state, and therefore
I can do my job. I can do my job. I thought that. Yes. I thought that on first viewing. I've seen this multiple times. I thought that on first viewing because Pelle has that the suave Swedish exchange student appeal
very
to
friendly,
him,
nice smile.
Yes. Joshua is very bookish, but also bookish, but between a jock and a bookish, dude.
He's a little bit too, in terms of when he gets to Sweden, he feels a little bit too focused on like academia and like as in all of his like line of questioning and all that kind of stuff is very focused on getting this information from, like, you know, so then he has this stuff for his thesis. And it's like, it comes off a little bit like insensitive, even though he is still going about it in, as, you know, fairly respectful kind of way. It's still a little bit outsider looking in, let me study you under a microscope kind of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're all trying to manipulate the situation to better their station.
Yeah.
All of them in their own way. Because it is
And then Mark
very,
is just an idiot.
it's very unethical, sorry, what Joshua does. This is a sacred temple, you know what I mean, and all that sort of thing. You know, this all it means a lot to them. I wouldn't do such a thing.
Oh no.
Yeah,
no.
I wouldn't do such a thing. And he manipulates his way in there, or just breaks his way in there at the end. Mark.
He's
Mark,
the most disrespectful of the lot of them. He doesn't actually give a shit. All that he wants to do is just fuck as many beautiful Swedish women as possible. That's all he cares about. So
he's pleasure in the
know what he
moment.
wants.
Pleasure in the moment one. And Christian doesn't know what he wants. He's the lost sheep. Absolutely. Sheep, I think. Danny is particularly, so we have all very well-defined characters with well-defined points of view. Yes, at this stage straight away. And we have Danny in plight. Yes, our protagonist just in plight. And then we have Pele. You know, we've seen this character in Obi-Wan Kenobi, etc., and all, you know, going through it. We're starting this kind of narrative to start here at this point. She has lost her family, and all of these people are into it for themselves.
So she isn't able to turn to any of these people. Like, she can't turn to her boyfriend for emotional support through her grief. And none of his other friends, absolutely not. Pele's the only one that's actually tried, but then, like, potential ulterior motives going on there. How sincere is that? But you know, that's part of the reason why things play out the way that they do in the end for Danny. It's because when she finally does get that emotional support and understanding, she literally doesn't have it from any other source, and so obviously she's going to get roped into it all.
And this has all been set up at this point. And at this point, we get the introduction of the Midsommar Festival through Pele. You know, he's the exchange student, and he's offering, he's not offering, but he's opening the world, the idea of, an escape, from what's happening at this point. So, you know, she is in. Even though he's very untactful in his approach to be friends or whatever he's up to, with his parents died in a fire, because he starts yelling at her about it, basically, when she starts crying. Not in a bad way, but his volume rises too much. The situation is, but this cut from running out of the room, crying, then through the door, then through the airplane bathroom door from up above, in the bathroom crying.
I love that. So good.
Executed brilliantly. Okay. And then she returns to the seat in said plane. And we see the first sight of Sweden through the window, and then there's the turbulence. It never lets you settle.
No.
And any kind of ideas you've had about this type of story or film in the past. Even though it is one of those films. Okay. We're in the car. We're in Sweden. We're in the car. It's daylight. It's, you know, daylight, sunny. Mark is freaking out over attractive Viking-esque woman. Mark has no tact whatsoever.
No. Classic American tourist, honestly.
There you go. That carnality of America. The American spirit. That's Mark. And then Joshua makes a nice little comment I thought was interesting, saying that the violent breeding selection process of the Vikings, dragging all of the attractive women back, There was also kind of, this is what, Danny is also coming over to, with the May Queen thing. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
also a whole lot of, attractive women being brought over for a certain purpose, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got to diversify that gene pool somehow.
Yeah. So it's always hinting at things and also putting in the background stuff that's going to happen in full detail. And you don't notice at first until you watch this movie several times. Yeah. Then more come. Yeah. Layers indeed. We get a driving montage. The dude's talking. Yeah, dude shit.
Oh God.
Like, yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, of course.
I've been there.
I haven't written down every line of dialogue. If there's any quotables, go for it.
It's just standard kind of shit where it's a bunch of like college age guys and they're just talking shit and just various different things. They're in that car for quite some time, so the conversation jumps to all kinds of topics and we just get little snippets of it. And then Danny's
there's drugs.
And then there's Danny's there
throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Yes. So So the conversation gets wild. But we get the information that Danny's birthday is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then Danny espies. Josh is having a little snooze, and she espies this book that he is reading, The Secret Nazi Language of the Utak. Utak, as far as I looked up and saw, that basically is runes and rune business language, etc.
Because she asks Josh, like, why are you reading that book? And he's said, like Pele told me about the Haga have their own like language and it's based on like runic stuff and all that. So and also like he's very much an anthropologist. Like they're anthropology majors. Writing their PhD. That's why Josh has come along for this, because that's what he's planning on writing his thesis about. And he's very much an anthropologist. He's looking at all of this from a very scientific kind of lens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. In spite of himself. It is a book I would take note of and ask, so what's up there? How's that book going?
Exactly.
There's a swastika right on the cover there. And if you're confused, runes and Nazis, their children, the Nazis were quite into Nordic stuff.
A lot of their symbols are taken from that. A lot of symbols that they used.
Look up the Order of Thule, Thule. Google it if you want to go deeper with it. But the Nazis were into magic, occult, and other such
they were.
ways of looking at things, definitely. Whilst on a whole lot of meth.
So much amphetamines. So much.
Crazy. But that's another story.
Yeah.
But this amused me because it's a rune beef with Pele, because the Hungarians, I'm going to call them that, they use runes to the degree of Wes Anderson,
Oh yeah.
The terms they deck their shit out, their village, The village is amazing, but we're almost there. There's a discussion of thesis topics, and we get first to see that Christian is still undecided. And then we get the first upside down shot of the movie. Yes, the classic A24 upside down shot. Doom is coming. It's a classic.
Yeah, because it's in Hereditary as well. During
and
like
some
important
and in
moments.
Saint Maud, there's things about to get bad. Yes, it's a harbinger of doom, the upside down shot. And there's always that slow, doomy frequency. I like it. I see how people get annoyed with it, but I like it.
If it's overused, but if it's used like in the right moment and not just all the time, just because it looks cool. It looked cool in that other movie, so we're gonna do it as well. If it's appropriately done, then it's cool.
And this is when they first enter Sweden as well, because there's the banner for the festival and the sign for the place, Hälsingland. Wikipedia if you're really that keen on it. They're in Haga, the village of Haga. yeah, now this is a good point to point out that they wanted Ari to
Mm,
do a slasher movie set in Sweden that's reminiscent of Hostel.
cool. I would love to see Ari Aster style slasher. That would be really interesting.
Well, just
I don't
fuck
know
the
if it,
books, fuck the
yeah, I don't know.
research, just
Yeah.
kill
I don't
scenes. What
know.
can you give
Yeah,
us in
I
your
don't
most
know.
elaborate? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how it would work, but like a slasher in his style would be very interesting.
that would be very interesting to see if, yeah,
Yeah.
because he's done supernatural and this is
Mm,
folk horror. Yeah,
yeah.
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 That would be interesting. But
Mm,
anyways, go, no, no, no. Okay, no, no, no. I'll do a horror set in
mm,
Sweden, but I want to bring my own thing into it.
yeah.
I've got my own
Mm,
ideas for this. And
yeah.
they said yes anyway, because Hereditary was the hit
Yeah.
that it was. Yeah. That would be interesting though. That'd be crazy.
Mm.
Do you think this film is just The Wicker Man?
There's definitely like similarities, but admittedly, I feel that almost all folk horror is going to be compared to The Wicker Man.
Okay. Yeah, right,
So
right. Ah, it's a
I
little
haven't seen
unfair.
a yeah, I haven't seen a whole heap of folk horror. Um, but the ones that I have seen for the most
Mm,
part don't really interest me. I do really, really love The Wicker Man, and obviously I really love this one. But a lot of
right.
other ones I wasn't super into. So
Okay. I hear you. I hear you. I
mm,
like it.
mm,
I don't think this is like The Wicker Man. There are comparisons,
yeah,
certainly,
yeah, there are some
and
similarities,
the
but
solstice
mm,
outfits are very, they're kind of 60s-esque, yes,
yeah,
as the Wicker Man was hippie-ish,
mm,
yeah,
yeah,
and its design, aesthetic coloring, and that sort of thing. So
mm,
there is that, I think, that unconscious
yeah,
comparison there, because what happens at the end of this movie, what happens at the Wicker Man are really not related at all.
mm,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? They're
yeah.
just both folk horror movies,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Just
Um,
because there's a fire doesn't mean that it's a rip-off from The Wicker Man.
yeah, exactly. But just a quick recommendation if you do want to see a really good folk horror,
Mm,
that always also mixes in English crime,
mm,
because it's an English movie, street
yeah.
crime. It's called Kill List. Have you seen Kill List?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that one's
yeah,
so good.
that's
That
great,
one's really
eh?
good.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. That's up there for me. Definitely, it's one of my
yeah,
favorites.
that's a good
Certainly
one.
in that in folk horror.
Mm,
Okay, so yes, we have entered, yes, the world of Midsommar. Yeah. Okay. We are not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
mm,
Okay, but we stop first to meet Pele's friends.
mhm.
Yes, his brother Ingmar and Ingmar's friends, the British couple.
Simon and Connie.
Our other outsiders, but they're from the UK. They're Simon and Connie.
Yep.
And but Ingmar just busts out the shrooms.
Yeah.
Ingmar
Straight
just busts
away.
out the shrooms. This is a grass field, yeah. Quite a few
Mm,
bugs there complaining
yeah.
about it, but there's grass, there's sun, there's trees, and there's just a
Mm,
few tourists littered around.
yeah.
And he busts out the shrooms, yeah. This place, including the main village, particularly, of course, was a nightmare to film in as well,
Mm,
because you've got the sun conditions, but it's very
yeah.
hot, and you've got bugs and you've got wasps, yes,
Yeah.
and
That makes
and all
so much
that
noise.
and all that
So much
sugar
noise.
water shit that they were drinking,
Mm,
and all the food and the shrimps that were rotting and such, and that it was hard
yeah.
to actually eat, and there
God.
was gagging and throwing up and da da da. So yes, this idyllic, heavenly,
Mm,
pastoral environment,
yeah.
was actually quite a nightmare. But that's film.
Mm, yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, that's film. Yeah,
I do
yeah.
really
Just
like
reminded
that.
me there.
Yeah. I really like that all the like horrific moments, like obviously excluding the that opening, but all the horrific moments are happening in broad daylight. Usually in horror movies,
Yes,
the
of
fucked up stuff
course,
is happening in the
of
dark, but
course.
it is
Yeah.
broad daylight and you are seeing everything. There's a scene that pretty gory and you see all of it and it's in bright light.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so good.
Apart from the beginning section, another small
Mm,
section in the middle of this.
yeah.
Yes, it's in broad daylight, children, if you
Mm,
did not know. And it is the counterpoint, the binary opposite to Hereditary in that sense, that
yeah.
that
That one's
film's
very
dark,
dark. Yeah.
shadowy, dark,
Yeah.
compressed, black,
Mm,
crushed. Yeah. Um, And this one, Hereditary, you're kept out of. This one, you're inserted into. You're
Yeah.
with Danny and her anxiety. Yeah.
Mm.
You're watching all this from other rooms. You're a fly on the wall that wants to get the fuck out of the room, but you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And Hereditary, yeah. Yeah, this guy's great. Ari Aster's fucking
Mm.
great. Let's hope he doesn't get too meta anxiety,
Yeah.
self-analytical, yes, and
Yeah.
gets away from what he does with horror. Okay. Yes, okay. So yeah, they're taking shrooms, but Danny's not keen at first, yeah.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
there's a whole thing about when they're going to take it or not, and
Yeah.
it's a whole group. It's not a
Yeah.
great dynamic shared
It
between them.
was, it was
Yeah.
Mark who like made a fuss about it because Danny was like, oh, I just kind of want to get settled first, like I don't want to take it straight away, just in a little bit, you guys go on
But
with, go for it. And then Christian's there, oh, like I'll do it at the same time you do it. Like it's fine. And all that. He's like, I don't want to press you into it, doing it. Don't do it if you don't want to, blah, blah, blah. And then they go and tell the others that. And then Mark makes a huge fuss about it. And he's there saying, no, we can't all take it at different times because then we'll come up at different times and we'll have completely different trips. And so Danny is just like being the people pleaser that she is. She says, okay, fine, I'll do it at the same time as the rest of you. When you PSA for all the children, if you are deciding to take hallucinogens, make sure that you're in the right headspace for it and make sure that the people that you're doing it with are people that you trust, because bad trips are a real thing and they fucking suck. You want to reduce the likelihood of that happening for you.
Yes, they do.
So
having had one very bad, yes. Be in a good state of mind around good people, definitely. Not someone you want to break up with and a bunch of friends who don't really wish you were there, and someone who wants and indoctrinate you into a cult.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's her situation. That's her setup.
Yeah.
In another country, in a remote
you don't know the
area
language
of another country. Yeah, they've left the
Yeah.
city. Yeah, they've left the cities now. Yeah, and they don't. And
It's
don't
not as though
know
you can just call up an Uber and leave. Like you're stuck there in a foreign country with people that you don't know, with completely different language, completely different culture, and no way for you to leave.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And certainly when the okay, we're not there yet. Yeah, when they get to the village, I'd be out straight away. One look at them. Yeah? No, I'd be like, no, you got to be kidding me. But that's just me. That's just me. Okay, so eventually group trips in tandem, at the same time. Mark freaks out. These are just notes, at this point, just things I put, I thought were funny that Mark freaks out at the Swedish 9 p.m. That was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is real. Like if you live somewhere where like even in the middle of summer, the latest that the sun will set is like 7 p.m. When you look at the time, when you're in somewhere else where there's a lot bigger differences in terms of like how long the daylight hours last. And you look at the time, it's like 10:30 at night and it's still daylight. It really fucks with your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, Mark is having a bit of a freak out about that, which fair enough.
Yeah, that is the north. That is, the true north, the Nordic north. Yeah. I'd like to experience it. I don't know if I could live with it though. I like it
very
dark.
strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Places like that, they have like on their windows and stuff, like they have shutters on there that completely block out the sunlight, so you can actually like sleep.
Yeah. And then they have the reverse of that, for just dark for a fuck long time as well. Yeah. It's cool though. That's a part of the world I would like to go to at some point. Okay. Yeah, and everyone's tripping, including Danny, because grass is growing out of her hand at this point. His parlay talks about nature in his enlightened way that he does. Danny panics about Mark's gesture of family. You're all my family. That was what I took from it, because she just gets up and bolts straight away after that. As she retreats to an outhouse, an outside toilet, as the scenery warps.
Yeah, that's pretty realistic to like a trip. like the way stuff looks and all that. Like usually the way trips are
For
depicted in
mushrooms in
media.
particular as well.
Yeah,
He got
yeah,
mushrooms in
yeah,
particular as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
The way that media
Allegedly.
typically predicts, yeah, yeah, depicts like trips and stuff like that. It's like no, it doesn't actually happen like that.
No.
But this one, it did it pretty well.
Yeah, pretty good actually. You seen Fear and Loathing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, for masculine,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. She sees Terry in her death form. And when I say that, I
Yeah.
mean the hose in her mouth,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the mirror,
She's
in the
looking at,
black.
yeah.
Yeah, she lights a match to
Yeah.
illuminate the blackness. Yeah. And you've got this movie's very rhythmic. There's a lot of breath, a lot of rhythmic breath.
Yes.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of ceremonies, but it's also used in a lot of the editing in
Yeah.
terms of how people react to shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
To the supernatural shit, to the what the fuck shit in particular.
Mm.
Yeah. You see that in the estupe later
Yeah.
on. Yeah. But in this moment there, because it's not a scream straight away into the mirror, it's the light, the match, it's the see her. And then it's I forget exactly how it goes, but then you get the screen 2 beats after rather than straight away, because it's a reaction to of the breath and then the reaction. Yeah, that's just my little theory of how this is done. Yeah. Okay, but she runs out to the blackness of the trees, and in that blackness, we get a fade up to a shot of Terry alive, dick fingers apostrophe, in the suicide scene, sitting next to the dead parents, and then she turns and looks at the camera, i.e., Danny / us. Yeah. And then Danny, flash in and out of that to Danny asleep on the grass, awakened by Christian. It is Danny's birthday. Keep in mind, children. We have reached Danny's birthday on the waking up because there's confusion about when it is.
Yeah.
He even fucking says it's the next day. And he sort of said, Happy birthday, sweetie, right there. Yeah, that's where you do it.
Yeah. But yeah, she was just like asleep on the ground and they just left her there for the amount of time that she was asleep for.
No. That's the tripping pass out sleep on the grass. Just leave it. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Haven't been there at all. Because they left out the sunburn that she would have had.
Yeah, exactly.
Memories. A group walks through trees and enters Hagar.
They finally entered.
Okay. The group is greeted by the villagers / cult members. Yes, and you'll understand their children while I say that as we go on. Yeah. Mark jokes that it's like Waco. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. His nose right there. Right there, Dorian. Midsommar is officially opened. The festival, the 9-day festival is opened by the female elder. Oracle is painting during this. We get some flashes of Oracle, Reuben painting.
Yes, Reuben.
Yes. Now, torches are given to the 72-year-old couple. Yeah. Okay. Now, the male is Bjorn Anderson, Dorian. Do you know about Bjorn Anderson? You have some idea.
I feel like I should. The name does sound very familiar to me.
The most beautiful boy in the world, the most attractive boy in the world from the 1915s, got his first role based on his beauty, and then became incredibly famous for while in that part of the country for a long time, and even inspired early anime. A lot of the classic anime with the cheekbones and the sad eyes and the rosy and the perfect and the da-da-da comes from this guy. Comes from this guy back in the day. Yeah, he is hugely famous in this part of the world. This movie is shot in Hungary. Everyone is Swedish, apart from the Americans / British. Yeah, just to clarify there. I think it's Aster's joke, maybe his own little in joke to himself. Yeah. For the Stupa, ceremony, but we'll get to that. Don't want to spoil that.
Yeah, because that's the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And they're given two torches, this couple, yes, like Olympic torches. Yeah, just imagine
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
children. Children. And we get the text, this high, my fire, no higher, no hotter.
Mm.
Spirits back to the dead. Okay, so Midsummer is officially underway. Villagers are sitting at a runic table, yeah, seen from up above. Nice wide shot from up above. This
Yeah.
movie primarily exists of wide shots, except for a few
Mm.
prime key close-ups. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair to say.
Yeah.
And lots of symmetry, lots of
Mm.
runic displays. Yes, like this. The tables are all different runes. I didn't look up what they were. Yeah, again,
Yeah.
if I wanted
No.
to, I would have to do a three-parter on this, as it would
Yeah.
take me 3 weeks to properly go into all of this shit.
Mm.
Yeah, but they're runes. Okay, old man sings to give thanks to the crops. We've got a bit of, like it's a solstice thing as well. This is celebrated once every 90 years, this particular 9-day thing, though. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
multiples of 9 throughout this movie. Cult harmonies throughout the film. You get a lot of cool cult harmonies, a lot of singing, a lot of cool little choreographed dance moments going on. And you've wide shots, and you've got this village that is set up, these various you've got a sleeping hall, you've got a little yellow temple can't go into, you've got like basically what it operates as a church, a cook hall. I imagine there's a wash house, ablutions, blah 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 somewhere.
Yeah.
And they built all of this from scratch, ground up in a very small amount of time. I think about 3 months. Yeah, 90 days. Yeah. Everything's practical. Yeah, down to detail. And he had books and books and books and books and books of research, all your film books, your prep books, your visualizing books, all that sort of thing. Yeah. So it's a labor of absolute love. He would have got quite a bit of money for it, but he put a fuck ton of work into it though as well. So it's do you like the look of everything? Are you yeah, same. Okay, Maya, we have Maya the redhead, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
You know who I mean, of course. Pretties herself in the mirror, inside, well, the toilet, and breathes rhythmically in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
We do it in theatre warm-ups all the fucking goddamn time. But it's rhythmic. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point, yeah. And now they go out and they're doing a kind of, circular, pagan circle dance sort of thing. You know what I mean, yeah, children. And she taps Christian with her foot during the group dance. They're sitting down, just chatting on the grass, the group, the travelers. I'm going to call them travelers from here on in, because the group is also the cult. Yeah, they're more the cult. Christian and Joshua are vying for top thesis dog at this point with Pele. Can I borrow this? Can I look at that? Yeah. But they both join in the group dance. You Americans just insert yourself in there as you do.
Exactly. I love that.
But Christian, what of note though, Christian is going off to maybe check out Maya, yeah? Who this girl is who just gave him the old hey, what's up, tap?
Yeah.
During this time, Pele gives Danny a self-portrait for her birthday. Wonderfully drawn, yes. Yeah, it's a nice
with a little pretty little flower crown.
Romantic AF,
Yes.
yeah. Or maybe it's inappropriate. It's like fuck off, dude. Fuck off. I mean, seriously. Where's your acoustic guitar? Yeah. Just bring it up. Christian has forgot though, hasn't he, Dorian?
Yeah. And Danny's because Danny's like, because when Pele gives her the drawing, and then she's like, Christian's forgotten that it's my birthday, and he's like, and Pele's like, oh no, she just says, oh no, it's okay, like it's my fault because I didn't remind him.
I hated that so much.
Stop invalidating yourself, Danny.
All right. Question, because I don't want to get too much into the complexities of a modern relationship that these two represent. Do you think this has been building up for a while based on manipulation, gaslighting, as the kids say, of Christian towards her? Yeah. that this is a pattern, this has become a pattern of behavior for her now? Yeah, that she's become
No,
conditioned.
I think that she has been like that from before she met Christian.
Okay.
Like in
Okay.
that her just being like such a people pleaser and all that kind of stuff. Probably my theory is that it's probably because she has a sister that is mentally ill, and so therefore the family dynamic is focused more on taking care of the sister, and so therefore Danny has just gotten used to not feeling like her problems are worth making a big deal out of, kind of thing, and downplaying them.
Yes, yes, point. She is self-aware of this, though, I do think. In
Yeah.
in a clouded way, but she's talking about, do I push him too much?
Yeah,
Am I leaning on him
she's
too
just
much?
talking in circles and just spiraling, anxiety spirals to her friend
Yeah, because
about
she's
it.
not dumb. She just doesn't know where
Yeah.
to put these, this intent
Yeah.
into a direct line of
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she
Yeah.
doesn't want to burden other people with her feelings. And so every time that she's,
Okay.
experiencing any of
Okay.
that grief, she goes off
Okay.
on her own to cry.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And all right, so for Christian's defense, so devil's advocate's defense for these two, if you will, there, yeah. He is a young dude. He is at university. He has been with her for 4 years.
Yeah.
And so this has been a long pattern of behavior that he's, been able to put up with. He's not the best at communicating at all, but I don't know if there's a matter of fatigue at this point. And she is, and then when the grief happens, that all her family's suddenly dead, hey, look after me. That's a lot for a young dude. I'm talking about this guy's like 20 at the most.
Like they're grad students.
Yeah, at the
So,
most 20, 18 to 20. Yeah. So I don't expect him to be the savior.
Yeah.
No, the great white hope or anything in
Yeah,
this.
he's a conventionally attractive cishet white dude. So
yeah.
he probably
Exactly.
doesn't have like emotional maturity.
The capacity to give Danny what she wants, even though he could try the fuck harder at certain points, definitely. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, yeah, he forgot. Parlay certainly did not. Okay, we get the first shot of a sacred yellow temple. It's out of bounds. Cool. But Simon says, so are we just going to ignore the bear?
Yes. And they're like, it's just, there's a bear in a cage. When he brings it up, they're just like, oh no, it's just a bear. Like,
it's a bear.
And that's
I think that was Ingmar. I think Ingmar
the bear comes back in the end. The bear comes back in the end.
Everything is intentional. You're not just going to have a bear.
Yes.
It's a bear. It didn't say it's just a bear.
Yeah.
It's a bear.
Yeah, it's a bear. Yeah. I love the way that it is dismissed though.
Oh, it's great.
Like,
it's great.
It's a
bear. I had fucking screen shares for all this stuff. Yeah, I was doing it on VHS, but I wasn't looking at them as I was putting them over to Windows until the end. They were all black.
Oh no!
Because they had a picture of that moment of them walking past with the bear in the cage, and the wide shot, it was great. I'll figure it out next time. Okay, but okay. Ingmar shows the British couple the love spell tapestry. We have again another tapestry spelling out a wee little story. Yes, this is just a subplot, not the over, arching narrative.
I like that whole thing with the tapestry and the way that it ends up being relevant, because it's never explicitly like spelled out to us like what it means, but we can suss it out, we can figure it out for ourselves, so then later on we know what's happening when
things pop up.
Certain food and beverages, we know exactly what has happened and why, because of this tapestry.
Yeah, true. It creates a little moments of pleasure. It's pleasurable.
Yeah.
And then little recognition moments.
It's
yes, there it is. From before. Yeah. No, it's cool. And it comes back into play, absolutely. And it goes from right to left.
And the
this
camera
time
pans
with the
across from right
pan.
to left as
Yeah,
well.
right
Yeah.
to left this time. I don't know if it's like, hey, we're in a different part of the world,
Yeah.
we read differently this, I don't
Yeah.
know. But there's a choice at that point.
Mm.
It's not one-to-one, any of this, though. Yeah,
No.
just to point out,
Mm.
there's not one-to-one with this.
Yeah.
Okay, sleeping hall is revealed to the travelers. Yeah, and this was all designed by Ari and
Yeah.
Co.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What?
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just all
it's
the like,
stunning.
yeah.
Um, how would you describe it? I mean,
Oh,
it's
it's like a
Nordic,
big
there's
hall.
rooms,
Yeah.
there's
Made
halls,
of wood, massive hall kind of
but
thing.
there's
Multiple
rooms and
floors.
details and images
Mm.
from
Yeah.
floor to ceiling,
Mm.
and they're not
Just all
big,
this
so you get a
paintings and
lot of
artwork.
them. So you get a
Mm.
lot of them, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
get about 20 to look down from ceiling to roof in one panel. Then
Yeah.
there's the next one, then there's the next one, then there's the next one, yeah? And then
Yeah.
the bigger image. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's as impressive as the big, as any of the great churches of Europe walking
Mm. Yeah.
into. Yeah, you get a similar feeling of awe. That's what it's trying to
Mm.
convey.
Yeah.
And I think was a pretty great gesture towards that. Yeah, I'll say that. Not to sound too crazy. Okay. Now, Palais details the seasons of the village's life.
Mm.
Yeah. Again, all multiples of 9. All of those
Mm.
numbers that she
Yeah.
points out, they're all 9.
Mm.
They all,
Yeah.
yeah. Danny asks what happens at 72. Palais does, yeah.
And they think,
Yeah.
their response to it, you can tell they think that he's just making a joke.
Yeah,
They
it's
just kind of laugh
it's
at
cast
it. Yeah,
away
they
as a
think
joking
he's
moment,
just
yeah?
joking. Yeah.
And the camera
He's
moves
being
away from it at
sincere.
that point.
Yeah.
Like Danny moves
Mm.
away because the camera's following Danny at this point because it
Yeah.
moves over to the Wall of May Queens.
Mm.
Now, if this isn't ominous, if this isn't
Mm.
suspicious, yeah. And you've got little, what's the size there, Dorian? You'd be better than those little small frame pictures that you put on the mantelpiece of a fireplace, yeah, like of a
Yeah, that's
family
probably
at the
about the size
start.
of like an A5 bit of paper or something.
Okay, thank you,
Your
thank you.
standard size of photo.
Put on the bedside table,
yeah,
shit, yes, yeah, back when
Mm.
people actually did that.
Yeah.
This was from every solstice, yeah, pretty much, because there's about 50 roughly on the
Yeah.
wall. Don't know the
Mm.
exact number, but it looks about that. Mark's admirer rushes in, you know who I mean by Mark's admirer, offers the group an Austin Powers screening. I thought
Yeah,
was
yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
because
They're
that
like,
sounds,
oh,
yeah,
yeah, all the young people, we're all like watching
watching
Austin
Austin
Powers if you
Powers.
want to come.
Interest, is that an association with
Yeah.
anything at this point? Was that just big, really big
Yeah.
in Sweden? Yeah, that it even made it out there to
Yeah.
be veritable
Yeah.
Amish, basically. Yeah. Then Christian busts out his lame ass birthday cake.
Yeah. Yeah, because Pele had pulled Christian aside and told him
Yes, yes, yes,
it's
yes.
Danny's
That's right. Yes.
birthday. You need
Hey,
to do
dude,
something about this.
buck up.
Because if
Bucko.
Pele hadn't done that, Christian would have not have done anything for Danny.
No, no. Yeah, absolutely not. It would have, bypassed.
Yeah. So he pulls Danny aside and has a little birthday slice of cake with a candle on it, and him trying to light it. He's got a lighter. He's trying to light the candle, and it takes forever
And
for him
then
to manage to
Danny,
do it.
and then Danny
Danny's
goes,
like, no,
it's
it's
okay.
fine, don't
And
worry
he goes,
about it. He's like,
what?
no.
What? Don't rush me.
So
bitch,
funny though.
bitch.
Him struggling to light it was so funny.
So awkward. So awkward. You don't think I forgot, do you? So
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
I completely remembered. What are you talking about?
So bad, so bad. But the point of mentioning all of this is the disintegration of the relationship, yes, because it certainly becomes very significant later on. Yeah. So you want to see where the cracks are first formed. Okay, now, so yes, tomorrow is the Stupa. I have to go like this to say it. Mountain range in Sweden. Yes, the ceremony. Okay. Now this, that's also a mountain range in Sweden. Why I say that, and that is also the name of the ceremony for tomorrow. So ceremony 2 of 9, if you will. It is also a mountain range in Sweden where people would commit suicide Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in the day. Actually, give me a moment because it is just worth the quick. I've just got it here on Wikipedia. Okay, it's a name given to a number of precipices in Sweden. It supposedly denotes sites where ritual suicide, yeah, also known as geronticide or practice of killing the elderly. Sorry, genocide is
Oh,
the
well,
practice
that's
of
literally
killing the
what this is
elderly.
what this
There you
is.
go. And it took place during
The
pagan Norse prehistoric times. Yeah,
well then.
where people were thrown to their deaths
Mm,
through themselves or were
mm,
thrown. According to
yeah.
legend, this was done when old people were unable to support themselves or assist in a household. That's
Mm,
enough. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Interesting, yeah. So
Mm,
some of this is real, some of it's
yeah.
fabrication, blending of two sort
Mm.
of thing, but there is a lot
If
of
that's the
truth. There is a
case,
lot
if
of
that's the
truth in this,
case,
yeah, and what occurs goes on.
surely you would think, because they've been told that it's called the Atastupa, and you would
Well
think that
done.
if
Well
any of
done.
them would know of it, it would be Josh, with him being this, like,
Oh no, I've
you
got
think that
something on
he
that.
would, yeah, you would think
No,
that
no,
he
no.
would pick
He
up on
asked
that and have
Pele.
some idea.
Soon up, he asked Pele if they are the ones. He points to the old couple, the 72-year-olds.
Yeah.
And Pele does nod. It's done quietly in the background.
Ah, so
Yeah.
he does know.
He
Okay.
knows before
Yeah,
it
he
all
knows what's
goes
about to
down.
happen.
Yeah.
Ah.
See, Josh ain't a good dude.
Mm.
Nah. He's just
Because I mean,
charming in the
again,
fucking
yeah,
British. He may
again,
as well be
he's
British. He is the
yeah,
actor, isn't he?
yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
probably.
he's very much
Probably.
just with a scientific anthropologist kind of lens that he's looking at
Yeah.
this from. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
from,
yeah.
there's
He's got that
no
classy veneer, that
empathy.
smoke
Yeah.
screen. Yes, about him.
Mm.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
classy smoke screen. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, no, but he's actually quite a bit of a son of a bitch as well.
Mhm.
Yes. No one's kind of great in this film then, yeah?
No.
Because you've ruined Danny for me, but that's okay. That's okay. That's what we're here for, children. That's to learn. Okay. Okay, so it's the ceremony. How do you say it again? Say it again properly.
Atastupa. That's how they pronounce it in the
Atastupa.
movie. Yeah.
Atastupa. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Atastupa. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so this is the day of that ceremony. The flowers are being picked backwards.
Mm.
She gives him flowers. Danny gives Mark
Yeah.
flowers. It's nice-ish moment. Yes, keep it in
Yeah.
mind there, children, for later on. I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention that. Yeah. Okay, so our ceremonial couple, let me call them that rather than just 72-year-olds. Yes, at
Yeah.
the end of their life
The old
cycle.
farts.
Yes. Okay. You got the most beautiful boy in the world there. And the other one was cast. The other lady was cast. Let me just not call her the other lady. Okay. Because they were cast because they would resemble Danny in latter years.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Ceremonial couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sit and begin eating. The rest commence their meals. That's a thing with these people.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark hates waiting. I think he starts eating
Yeah.
before everyone
Yeah.
else does at this point. Yeah, first
Literally
meeting.
everyone else is sitting there waiting before they actually dig in. And Mark is just not even picking up on that. He just starts, and they're like, "What are you doing, dude? Clearly we have to wait. Pay attention to the people around you, you stupid American."
He's a rude little shit. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely represents the rude tourist. Yeah. The dumb American.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Joss has Paddy up the other ones. There you go. Yes, he knows what is to be performed. Okay, admirer checks out Mark across the way. Yes. Again, the same admirer from before. The ceremonial couple perform their vocal and breath routine. Yeah. It's unique. You have to see the movie if you haven't to, get why it's unique. But Danny is becoming inspired, though, leading to a little bit awe-filled, yes, at these proceedings, yes, at this the ritual of it all. Yeah. Yeah. That's important to note. That's also a little journey that is going on, an arc, if you will. Couple carried on chairs. Yes, the old couple carried on chairs up like thrones up the mountain, all very ceremonial. Yeah, they're treated very well for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I wanted to point out, okay, we've got the panning shot again, left to right, of villagers looking up at the cliff face. You know, they're looking up Orfield, you know, they're all happy. And then it lands on the travelers, yeah, and looking not so sure, hanging out by a tree.
Yeah.
And that echoes the panning shot of photos, family photos from the beginning of the film. Yeah, kind of plays on that throughout. But as during the panning shot of the village folk, though, that we see the Swedish hammer.
Yeah, that big hammer.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's this hammer for? Well, you're gonna find out pretty soon.
There's a historical precedent for that. That was used for euthanasia back in Swedish.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's essentially what it gets used for in this scene. So
yeah. So there's some truth to that. Yeah. So this movie is also a horror of reality. Yeah. This is all just done by regular people to other regular people. Yeah. In a big fucking field. Like a rave gone wrong.
Yeah.
Elderly female of the village reads from the book of scripture. Yeah. Okay. We've got the sacrifices. Okay. So first of all, we have her. We have she.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the composition of this. Yes. She does a beautiful summoning to the stars, to the sky as well. Spreads open the arms as well. Bird, angel-like, whatever you like. And then she jumps very cleanly, arms outstretched to the rock, which during at the start is also spread with blood from one of the villages as well, has runes on it as well. Yes. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, they land. That's the landing rock. That's that's be used as a trampoline if you're jumping out of a burning building. But no, it's not the same effect in the end. No. But it's a beautiful landing, beautiful shot. We have the reactions of the travelers. Yes, they're not impressed.
Yeah,
not impressed. They freak the fuck out.
Yeah,
as you would.
Yeah.
No one's told them this was going to happen.
No.
Heads up.
Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, whoa, what just happened? Like, no, surely she didn't jump. She just fell, because they're freaking out. And everyone else is like, what, And then, even pushing through and be like, no, like, this can't keep on going. We need to stop. And all of the actual Haga, they're like, no, this is supposed to happen. What are you doing? Why are you trying to interrupt this important ceremony?
Yeah. Calm down. Just calm down, Americans.
Yeah.
What about your nursing homes? You just leave them there to rot.
That's what Christian says later on. I'm trying to comfort Danny, saying like it's a different culture. Like we stick our elderly people in nursing homes, they probably find that disturbing.
Yeah. I'd be of a mixed mind. I would be on the anthropological tip. Yeah, sure. This is a cultural thing. This is different.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bust my white ass in here and make a mess or noise. But at the same time, Danny also points out that they are relying on people not knowing about this. They're hurling 72-year-olds off a cliff.
Yeah.
It's illegal as fuck. To those from the outside world. That's automatically what the others, which is us, are going to be thinking. But that's what they do, children. They jump off a fucking cliff when they're 72 years old. They're done.
Because that is for their belief system. That's essentially the end of their life cycle.
Yes. And this is something that they agree to. Absolutely.
They aren't. I mean. As much as we are shown, in terms of this is we are shown. If you get into like brainwashing and that kind of stuff and the culture and everything, then it's like, well, how much of that how much of that is consenting? But that's a whole other thing.
Well, it is this movie. This movie is definitely cult-like. Would you consider them a cult? Yeah, so do I.
Because they're a commune, and a commune is more a nicer way of like pretty much every single commune that's existed, it's like, nah, dude, that's a cult. That is a cult.
Yeah. It is a
So,
cult. And it's a patriarchal cult of a circle of
mm,
small inner circle of male elders that runs it. There's
yeah,
a one or two elder females, if I'm not
mm,
mistaken. I haven't looked closely.
yeah, mm,
And yeah. And if you don't agree with the cult, you're dead. Yeah,
yeah,
basically. So yeah, that's
mm,
really what makes it a cult. They kill you.
yeah,
Once it gets to that point, once they start killing people from commune, yeah,
mm,
then it's become a
yeah.
cult. Yeah. Yeah. As much cool religious kind of stuff you've pastiche, copied and
Mm,
pasted together. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay. He jumps. You've
yeah,
got this shot from way out the fuck.
yeah,
Like I barely
yeah,
see shit, and we get a small crack of the leg because he
yeah,
fucked it
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, totally
Yeah. And
different.
yeah, you see all of that gore from, like
Uh,
she landed head first from a
She
significant
she
height.
landed flat, yes, and then you get that reaction, and then you get that
Yeah.
bounce of
Yeah.
her come up.
Mm,
Again, that's
mm,
the editing fucking with the
yeah.
reaction
Yeah.
based on a breath
Mm,
pulse.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
another
again,
moment he
all
does
of
it.
this is shot in broad daylight, and it's a very it
Broad
isn't like
daylight.
it isn't a
No,
warm light. It's a very
no.
white light.
Yes.
And it is, yes,
Incandescent.
yeah.
Yes.
And you see
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah.
And
Mm.
then yeah, so the old guy jumps, and for some reason he jumps leg first and not head first. So then
Yeah.
obviously he's not
He
gonna
does,
die when he
doesn't he?
lands. He just fucks up his
Does a little
legs.
kind of hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, one leg up, then hop. He fucked
Yeah.
it. He
Yeah.
totally
Like
fucked
of
it,
course he
Ash.
didn't die from that. Now
Haha,
now they're gonna have
most
to use
beautiful
camera on him.
boy. Look at your
Yeah.
face. Look at your face now.
Yeah.
Because the faces of these two,
Mm.
that's in the director's cut. That's why
Yeah.
you want to see the director's
Mm.
cut children. You get to see how
Yes.
fucked their faces are from this.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
caving in is beautifully done,
Yeah.
makeup, prosthetic
Yeah.
wise. Yeah, fucking great. Yeah, but yeah, no, he's still alive. And then you
Mm.
get that whole we are one of the
Yeah.
Hagar
Yeah.
cult, yeah? Because they're
I
screaming
think,
and writhing in pain in
mm,
tandem with
yeah.
him
Yeah, they're
screaming
all essentially
in,
collectively
in
feeling
one
like each other's
collectively.
pain,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
happens multiple times over the course of the movie, which also
Yes.
because that's another reason
Yes.
why Danny got wrapped up in it all, because
Yeah.
she has not been able to express her pain and be heard and actually feel like her pain is validated and all that kind
She's
of stuff. And all
alone,
of a
no
sudden,
family.
here's
Then
these
she's
people
got
who
a
are feeling that pain
hyper
with her.
ultra family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's all wide shot as well most of the time, because you see them
Mm,
doing little collective dances and singing
yeah,
things. And even when they're pulling up crops and such, they're doing that stuff and almost choreography.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because this is what manipulates and who compels her to the
Mm,
end. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So yeah, and then an elder with this said hammer that we saw
Yeah.
before comes along with two younger, cult members, male and
Mm,
female. I don't know if that's important. I'm just pointing it out
yeah.
because it just seemed to be pointed.
Yeah.
It seemed to be
Mm,
displayed very pointedly in the
mm,
movie. They smash his face. Yeah, to
yeah.
finish him
They
off.
take
Hammer smash
turns.
face. Hammer smash
Yeah.
face. They take turns.
Yeah. And it is caved in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Mm.
is what makes this movie horror. Yes,
Yeah.
real, undeniably. Yes,
Mm.
however you argue it, because it has this scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's great. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliantly
Yeah.
done. Yeah, certainly the first time. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay, they get back to the village, and Danny sobs in private, and I
Mm.
see that as the end of Act One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Josh and Christian are arguing over the thesis topics. Yeah. Okay. So Joshua is doing midsummer traditions throughout Europe.
Yeah. Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
he wants to do it in Hogar. Yeah. Christian.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically on Hogar. He has no defined
Mm.
topic. He's just doing it on Hogar.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
doing it to piss off Josh because
Mm.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of, goats, butting
Mm.
horns. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that
Yeah.
shit throughout this
Yeah.
movie
And then
of
and
all the
then Christian,
dudes.
yeah, and Christian has the audacity to then be like, yeah, so if you want to collaborate, I'd be open to that.
Yeah, real
Like you
dickish.
and Josh had said, like, you've known for quite some time that this is what I'm wanting to do. That's the
Mhm,
whole reason we're even here.
mhm.
Because so then I can like work on my thesis, and you just out of nowhere, you're riding on my coattails. It's lazy, like you're coming up with all this stuff. I'm putting in all the work, and you're just coming along and stealing my shit. You wouldn't even be here if
Mm,
I had to teach you how to
mm.
use JSTOR. Why are you even in academia in the
Right in
first place?
academia. Yeah, that's right. He gets real pissed. He gets real
Yeah.
pissed. Yeah, which is fine. He deserves it. He
Mm.
deserves it. Okay, so Christian is out there with his notepad in the village
Yeah.
next bit.
Yeah.
Next
Oh my
minute.
God.
Yeah.
He's
Fuck
trying to ask questions. He's failing
it.
miserably. He doesn't know what he's
That's
doing
right. All right,
because
Louis
he's
Theroux.
just pulled, yeah, he's just
Calm
pulled it out of
down.
his ass,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, in that case, I gotta have. So he has done no preparation, no prep work, no
See,
planning
this
out
is
what
the
he's
thing.
actually planning on writing. So obviously,
Mm.
he's completely directionless in terms of what questions he's gonna ask.
Because this is the thing. He's always on the defensive and trying to one up
Mm.
Danny, and he's doing it now with Josh. He does it with
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
dickheadness of Chris I'm trying to
Yeah.
pinpoint. I think that's it.
Yeah.
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 Is what annoys me about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay. During his first questioning is
Mm.
Maya. Yeah, he's
Mm.
formally introduced by Maya to
Yeah.
Maya's friend who can speak some, well,
Mm.
mostly
Yeah.
English fairly well. Okay. And we also have Palais comforting Danny and reinforcing his sob story of his
Mm.
burnt
Yeah.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I missed anything else there. To further the appeal of the cult family. Yeah,
Mm.
that's what I put there
Yeah.
because that's in bed. Yes, so I was sitting on bed
Yeah.
in this sleeping hall during the day. They're
Yeah.
not sleeping together or anything. No, that
No.
doesn't happen. No. Okay. Thankfully. All right. Then we have the 72-year-old barbecue. It's just the
Yeah.
note how I wrote it down last night, trying to get through this 4-hour movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Step
Jesus.
by step, writing it down. But this means the two how would you say it? The elderly couple who were sacrificed there on the fire. Yeah, the sacrificial pyre.
Yeah.
There we go. That's nicer.
Yeah.
And then this moment I love there, Dorian. There's a special ceremony invitation that one of the younger village folks says to Danny, and then she turns around and goes, "Why? What is happening now? What the fuck do you want me to see
Yeah.
now?"
Yeah. Because Danny is like, she's so done after like what she's witnessed so far. She
Oh,
wants to go
yeah,
home.
yeah.
And that
Because it's a
was
lot.
when, yeah,
It's a
the
fucking
conversation
lot.
she was having with Pele, that was Pele kind of comforting her and reassuring her because she's like, no, like I'm not an anthropologist. I have no idea why I'm here in the first place. Like, like, I'm sorry, I understand that this is your culture and everything, but like, I'm really freaked out and I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And Pele's like, no, stay here.
Yeah. No, but she's not impressed by the jerk off circle. It
Yeah.
got too real. The jerk off circle has gotten too real.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Okay, well, we have another ceremony. This is at night. Yeah, of
Yeah.
night.
This ceremony is in the director's cut. It's not in the theatrical
Yes.
edition. It's not in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, so yeah, again, children, that's the only one I've seen, so that's the only one I'm referring to, and that's the only one I'd recommend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have throughout this, interspersed throughout this this ceremony, excuse me, we've got two villagers performing an oratorical play. Yeah, speaking much very what is happening in front of the audience. Yeah, we have a couple orating that, depicting the ritual as it unfurls. We have the decorated symbolic tree, which we saw when Maya was being introduced to Christian, is thrown into the lake to feed her. And what I pretty much easily, I think, picked up, lake symbolizes Mother Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's all
So they're very
solstice, gives thanks
connected
to the
with, it's very
crops,
much
blah, blah, blah.
about like nature.
Harvest. Yeah. It's pagan. It's pagan as fuck.
Yeah.
Two villagers, got that. Sorry. Young girl enters dressed as a tree. Yeah, so 12, 13. She's about to be thrown into the lake, the classic 1, 2, 3 by, two other people. The rock is placed on top of her, like she's going to sink. You can pretty much see that it's fake at this stage. Yes, that it's part of.
It's entirely
a prop.
ceremony. Yeah,
it's a prop. Danny doesn't get that, but you got to. There is a moment I forgot to point out. I think it's when the female sacrifice hit the rock. It was Danny's reaction. I forget what point it came through. The extreme close up of the eyes. Then there was the blur. That was her brain cracking.
And it's just it goes silent.
Crack. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it goes silent as well.
Yeah. So her brain is cracked at this point, and she thinks this is real. That someone else is going to die. Yeah, again. This time a young fucking girl. So she's not happy about it, but the play quickly continues around her in spite of her. And the girl is released, but Danny has had enough. She wants to leave. She wants to go. She's bolted from the scene. Chris follows. He does not want to go because he's the serious academic now.
Yeah, and then this argument that they have is just, oh my God. Because, they just get into an argument and he's out basically just accusing Danny of kind of, she always wants something from him, so when she was picking some flowers earlier and she gave him those flowers just as a nice little thing to do, he's apparently interpreted that as, oh, now, I'm going to have to do something for her in exchange for that kind of thing. And she's like, what are you...
What the fuck was that say?
Yeah.
That was awful. That was awful.
He's there saying this stuff that implies that this is just how he interprets her actions in general, not just that particular instance. He think, and she's like, what are you talking about?
That's manipulative. That's why we get you're a manipulator. This is manipulative. You know how hard that is to maneuver. You're placing her on eggshells. Yeah, for this. And she's making good points. That's where she makes the points. These people need to conceal what has happened today. They don't want anyone knowing about it, i.e., they're not going to let us leave. She's getting the idea they could kill us. But no, he's the serious academic going forward. Yes. So if you leave, I'm going to stay. Dickhead. Danny dreams of the friends leaving her, and everyone I think that's Mark's face in the mirror looking at her obnoxiously. Such a prick. Okay, next day, Maya puts a love rune under Christian's bed as Joshua pretends to sleep. He sees what's has happened. Doesn't say a word. He's not that type of dude, as we've discerned. Okay, then we get a tapestry shot of the Maypole, the Midsommar dance competition. And and then we get a little neo-folk wood chopping and spirit fingers. Okay, what that means. They were doing this really cool, like it was Fawn or some shit. Like the neo-folk band Fawn's like singing. And then they chopped one piece of wood and they were singing for about 3 to 5 minutes. It was a whole track. They chopped the one piece of wood and then the spirit fingers. They're not spirit fingers like jazz hands. But this was the start of that shit comes into play. And I thought it was highly amusing because I hate spirit fingers, Dorian. I think they're disgusting. All that jazz mataz fucking, and stage freeze. Nah. So, and they found it very amusing in this film. Okay, anyway. Pele gives permission to Christian and Josh to read the sacred book. There's that whole fucking dick competition there. And he mentions Maya is legal when 15. I thought there was a little
Yeah.
moment of creepy ick put onto the situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does make its point later on. In the meantime, Mark is pissing on an ancestral
Yeah.
tree.
Like of all the places he could go and take a leak, he's like, oh, here's just this big tree that's just lying here. I'm just gonna go and piss there. He's
It's
not
in
even
the
like,
open field. There's
it
still people
is.
all
It's
around in the
out in the
background. That's the
field.
thing
Like,
there,
oh my
children. It's not,
God.
yeah.
Yeah. And
You
then
know,
this
I've
guy
pissed
comes
on
up running
trees,
up to
but
him.
not in
Yeah.
the middle of a playground.
Yeah. This guy comes running up to him, yelling at him, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? So this is like an important thing. It's like ancestral tree. It's, all the, dead people who've died and all that kind of stuff is representative from that. So essentially someone to explain to Mark like the significance of it. Like you wouldn't piss on a tombstone, would you? And he's like, no, of course not. It's like it's essentially that kind of concept, what he's just
And if
done.
you're in university as well, you should know a tree to cultures, in terms of their religion and spirituality. Trees and Nordic with Nordic shit, huge. Anyway,
yeah.
I wouldn't do
But
it.
I don't think he's part of the like anthropology kind of
No,
thing because
he's
he
not.
doesn't seem interested.
He's just a
He doesn't seem
hanger-on.
interested. Yeah, he's just their friend, but he doesn't seem interested in any way
Yeah, no, he's
from
not a good
like
student
his
if he is,
college
anyway.
stuff.
He's not a good
Yeah,
student.
so I don't. Yeah, he's not there for that reason. He's there because he wants to get his dick wet.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, no. I mean, and he doesn't even give a fuck when caught. He's like, well, should I apologize? Is that when I do that sort of thing?
Yeah,
that sort of shit. But his admirer comes up and does defend him. Oh, he doesn't know. It's okay. Tell him it will be okay.
Yeah.
She's just doing her job, though.
Yes.
She's just doing her job.
Yeah.
All right. And it's this point we get where the cult splits up Simon and Connie, our British couple. Yeah. Connie is ready to go. She's waiting for Simon, backpack, ready.
Yeah.
She is told by an elder that Simon has left to go to the station, had to get in, and there was only enough room for him, and they had to leave now.
Yeah.
In essence, yeah.
Yeah. And then Connie's like, oh, well, like I could have just sat in his lap. Sure, there's only 2 seats, but I could have just sat in his lap, And the guy's like, oh no, like, yeah, you could have done that, but like we need to obey the traffic laws.
We don't break the traffic rules here. In Sweden, we are Swedish, which is true. As far as I know, the Swedes that I've met and they say and admit to,
it's very important.
It's the rules are heavy there, yes. Hence the conformity of the mainstream and the weirdness of the underground. It's one of those places. But it was funny. It was fucking funny. This movie is funny, children. Yes, there are laugh out fucking loud moments, definitely, intentionally so. But yeah, this is where people start to go disappearing. This is where it starts to happen. Danny also begins to hate Christian because of his reaction to Simon leaving without Connie, because it's obvious bullshit. And we both saw that they wouldn't do that to each other.
Because they had recently gotten engaged. Simon and Connie. They were recently
much
engaged
to the
couple.
chagrin of Ingmar. Ingmar's not happy about that. We went on a date once, buddy, and I still were hanging out.
So we just became friends when Simon and Connie met. That's
and then just looking at them kissing. Funny again, funny. Danny is bewitched by the cookhouse, to make the delicious pies and teas. And Danny is watched outside by a female elder. Yes, very good moment. The plan is going according. Things are going according to plan. Josh and Elder are in the temple reading the book of scripture, channeled by Reuben. This book of scripture, channeled, illustrated. The oracle is a product of inbreeding. This is openly disclosed without shame.
They are quote unquote their minds are
unclouded.
Their minds are unclouded.
Yeah.
And so they're used as like oracles, and they're specifically like produced like, well, we need to make another oracle happen. So I don't know how they decide which ones are going to be the ones producing it, but intentionally inbreeding the product of that incest, they are the new Oracle. So
and Reuben is disarming to look at. They did that well there with the look of Reuben. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We hear screaming heard on the periphery of the environment. You know that moment I mean? Mark hears it as well.
Yeah.
But you can't place it. It's in the distance, and then we move on. I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool. Okay, supper time. I say supper time because the pies are brought out. We focus on Christian's pie being placed in front of him to begin with. Okay.
And then
Connie,
they've got all their beverages as well. It
the
just
teas,
looks like
which were prepared by Pew
very,
and friends. Yes.
Yeah. It all looks very like yellow in color, except for Christian's,
Summery,
which looks a little bit more corally pink in color.
Oh, good observation. Good observation. Yes, because everything is all summery and bright and yellowy as well. Everything's very daisy colored,
is a different color.
daisy yellow. Throughout this. Yeah, good point.
His
good
is
point.
a different color for a reason.
And they put his pie down first. It's the first, pretty much first placement. Yeah. Connie is not at the runic table, at the dinner table here, the supper table. Driven to the table, maybe. Miscommunication, is it? Danny accuses Christian of being likely to do the same sort of thing. Yeah, she's breaking, she's ghosting him. She's starting to chill from him, definitely. Cult member Death Stare's Mark for a treat. Yeah. You know,
and Mark is like, this guy is just staring me down.
He's gonna kill me.
This is really uncomfortable. Yeah.
Because he's not eating before anyone else yet, but he's picked up utensils and is prodding at things and holding shit in his hands. Yeah, he does not care. Chris eats pubic pie in frustration. He does pull it out.
They're eating the pies, and he pulls out a hair from his pie.
Yes, now that is important to note, because like the love rune under the bed and this moment of the pubic pie, this was both illustrated in the tapestry.
Also the drink as well.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Okay.
So by that point, if you saw that tapestry and you put two and two together, you know exactly why his drink is the way that it looks, the way that it does, before he even drinks it. And then also, like, you know why, you know, that love rune was under his bed, and then also like why he's found pubes in his pie.
Absolutely.
Love spell stuff.
Yes, because to that, and Maya and Danny are both watching him quite closely at this moment. There's the little exchange of shots we've got going on there, the little triangle. Then we have Mark's admirer beckon him away to show him.
And he's like, he's like, oh, well, she's gonna show me. He thinks that they're gonna go off. Yeah, he thinks that they're gonna go off and fuck. That's what he thinks is gonna happen. So he's on board.
The time has finally come. The time is, I can stop violently vaping and glaring in her direction.
He's vaping so much over the course of this movie.
Obnoxiously, near anyone, whatever's going on. Piece of shit. Hilarious piece of shit. Okay, Joshua sneaks into temple to read the book and take photos previously denied him. Yeah,
with the flash on and everything.
American.
He's not subtle about it at all.
America. Yeah. He is caught red-handed by the euthanasia hammer first, Swedish mallet. Yeah, and then a zombified / lobotomized.
Because he thinks that it's Mark that's coming into the building, because he sees him and he's like, "Oh, Mark, is that you?" And then as the audience actually sees it, oh, this is someone wearing Mark's skin by the looks of it. So
yeah. Crazy. So things are getting darker. Things are definitely beginning to get darker. Okay. The disappearance of Book is announced at the supper table. Josh is suspect because Josh is nowhere to be found.
He's missing. Christian throws him under the bus so hard, because he's just there like, oh no, like I promised you, like, you know, Like, we had absolutely nothing to do with this. I have no knowledge about any of this, you know, like, and just so you know, like, all these people that we're here with, you know, I have no connection with them, like, you know,
And Danny's looking at him going,
yeah, like,
how have
what
I
the
been
fuck,
with
dude? These are
this
your
lot?
friends. Yeah.
Why am I with you? Yeah.
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 Throw some under the bus like that.
Yeah, these aren't good people. No,
No.
these aren't good people. Yeah, it's called red-handed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, tears deployed for the mace ceremony. The big one, day
Yes.
9.
Mm.
Okay. The contestants stand in a spiral and we get a lovely aerial shot of white solstice, you know, tunics, garbs, we want to call them dresses, from up above with the maypole. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful shot. And Danny begins to trip. Yeah, because
Yeah,
the
because they all drink
tea's
some tea.
hallucinogenic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots
Tea,
and lots of hallucinogens in this movie.
everyone is off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the fun side of paganism. The thespian elder opens up the competition in honor and accordance with the black one. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what the black one is? I don't.
I don't know.
Children, please communicate with us, write with us on any platform, particularly underneath in the YouTube comments there would be lovely. Black one. Yeah. Again, would have taken 3 weeks to find out what the black one was. I'm just going to leave it there. It's just kind of, that's evocative. Okay, now we have the great score for the dance around the maypole. Yes, it's diegetic, if you will, because there is a band there performing it. Yeah, I really like it. I dig it a lot. I dig it a lot. It reminds me of Michael Nyman, like who did a lot of stuff for that Peter Greenaway movie called Thief, Wife, Lover. He was the composer for that movie. Yeah.
Oh
yeah. He does a lots of other Peter Greenaway movies similar to this. I did the piano, if you've ever seen that. Yeah. And reminded me of that. There's just this always impending narrative, but never gets to its climax. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done in a very Nordic folk, neo-folk fashion. Yes. Okay. Okay. Cut to an image of a bear in flames. Yes. Black and white image. Yes. And then quick cut to Christian in a hyper illustrated room, like the sleeping hall, but smaller. Yeah. Like a doll's house version, even. Sitting on a chair. Now, an elder comes in, leads him into adjacent hyper illustrated room, but there's a chair and a stool facing each other, both sit. Okay. She proposes a mating ceremony with Maya.
Yeah. She's like, what do you think
put it bluntly.
what do you think of her? Yeah, you've been like, you know, you are compatible and we think that you'll be a good mate for her.
Yes, you can't marry
Christian's
her.
like, what the fuck is
you
going on?
can't marry her. You won't get a pin for that. Not marriage. No. Yeah, it's interesting. There's some notable dialogue, funny dialogue. I think I ate one of her pubic hairs. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then she says you can get a unique view into our sexual rights.
Yeah. And he's like, do I have to actually like actively participate in this?
To get this unique view, unique perspective into it. Yeah. So that's to his credit. That moment was to his credit there, yeah. Because she's been the creepy one there. She has been the creepy one there, yeah.
Not saying anything and just creeping, watching him the whole time.
Because it must be, I mean, I'm not, trying to cancel the shit or anything. This, it's a horror movie. It is what it is.
Yeah.
She is 15, Maya. Yeah, we must remember. Yes, as mentioned before. Okay. The party dances, rages on, and Danny is having a great time. Danny is actually experiencing joy,
fun,
release, freedom. Yeah.
Because they're basically all they're all dancing around this maypole, and kind of as the music changes, they kind of like switch around the direction that they're going around. And so because everyone's just tripping balls, anyone who kind of like falls down, because this is in part of like, the tradition, the little like mythology based around this whole tradition. But, as you fall, then you're kind of out. And then gradually over time, there's less and less people dancing around. And then Danny's there at one point. Just it literally sounds like they're just speaking gibberish, not Swedish or anything like that. But they're like, "Oh my god, we can
Yeah, they were
communicate. I can
peaking. They were
understand
peaking
you."
at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then as yeah, and by that point, Christian's come back.
He's
He's sitting down
sulking.
with
He's on
he's
the
sulking.
outskirts. Yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah,
sulking
sulking.
with all the people who are sitting out, and he is watching. And one of them comes along and gives him something to drink as well, and he isn't
Not quite.
into it to begin with, but
Yeah, yeah, that is in the next part. Because
he ends
first
up
of all,
taking it.
Maya is eliminated, and eyes
Yeah.
mark as she walks away, and he's just sitting there tripping balls, but just struggling with
He's
his
tripping.
morality.
Yeah.
Struggling with his morality. He
Yeah.
wants to get up and follow us so badly.
Yeah.
But he doesn't at this point. And then Danny is in the final 8, and Chris could care less. Then we get that wonderful shot of about 30 of the village folks doing the fingers, and he's just sitting there.
I think that's how they
bored,
clap.
looking at
It
them.
looks
Yeah,
as
it
though
is how they clap.
Yeah, that's the version of clapping. Yeah.
And do you remember that there was a whole bunch of SJWs? I'm just don't mean that either way. It's just you know what I mean. That they wanted to use this instead of clapping out in public. I reckon they must have pulled it from this. Yes, they must have pulled it from this.
Apparently, like that's how like hearing impaired people communicate the concept of them clapping. Apparently, I don't know if that's true or not, but
children, again, let us know if you know.
I don't know.
But this shot is so funny.
I saw it on the internet, so who fucking knows how true that is?
30 of them just, loving away, careful what you say, spirit fingering away. And he's just sitting there just looking and going, what the fuck? And then just puts his head down.
What is happening? Yeah.
Because
he's tripping.
Killjoy.
He's tripping.
From
this point onwards, he is out of his mind on all these kinds of drugs. He has absolutely no idea what's going on around him from that point onwards. He is so fucking confused.
We get Trippy T Fairy Girl comes up to him and says it breaks down your defenses and opens you for the influence, and he gets his proper dose then.
And then from that point onwards, it is just an awful time for him. He has no idea what's going on around him.
Okay. So just going from just putting your notes on where you are together. Dance continues. Danny's trip starts to spiral. She starts getting to that tense. Oh, this isn't such a good idea. Why did I do this? Stage. The final dances, they're speaking the Swedish gibberish, crash into each other, 2 fall over, and boom, you've got Danny becomes May Queen. There is celebration. There is spirit fingers, and there is flower crown. Okay, and old man takes old photos too. We get the close-up for the wall of May Queens, and a wide of the group. Danny sees mother in celebrating cloying cluster of village folk. Mum walks past, so she's really tripping balls at this point. Okay, have you ever noticed the pink flower?
Yes.
Yeah, how cool's the pink flower?
Because Danny's tripping.
Do you want to explain the pink flower?
So Danny's flower crown, like just in general, it isn't just the flower that's doing it, but that one's the most noticeable.
That's the most noticeable,
because Danny's tripping, everything's kind of, it's almost like it's pulsating in time with like her like
anxiety and her anxiety as well, I think as well.
Everything's kind of undulating and warping and pulsating. Absolutely. And so this flower, like the central part of it is kind of expanding and contracting. And that's the one that's the most noticeable, but it isn't just the flower that's doing that.
I didn't notice it till about the 3rd viewing. The 3rd time. No, it's a beautiful touch. And this is putting you into the environment as well. You know what I mean? It's more unsteadying. You're never placed on steady ground, quite literally, at this moment. Oh, sorry, you're going to say?
When they so after they've all like, hey, Danny's May Queen, all that stuff, they put her on this big like wooden platform and then carry her along for that. And it's like a side view of it, and you see like the forest and all that kind of stuff in the background as she's being paraded along. And in the shapes of the forest, of those trees and the shadows and all that kind of stuff, there is her sister's face with the tube coming out of it in that.
Yeah. Right
And it
about
is,
there. My cursor is there,
yeah,
children.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, which is so,
It's
because
cool,
it's
eh?
something that you wouldn't necessarily notice it. Unlike,
No.
like I
No.
didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but then obviously people picked up on it, and now I can't not see it.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So it's the second time we've seen her face. As no, third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's all linked in with her anxiety as well. There's
Yeah.
different stages of anxiety. It shows it in different ways. But yeah, that's just cool.
Yeah.
That's just cool.
Cool.
Okay. Where are we up to? Pink Flower. Pele kisses her openly at this
Yeah.
stage. She's not hiding
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
My work's done here. I'll reap my reward.
Yeah, and she's a bit like, what? Why are you kissing me right now? Kind
Yeah.
of thing in terms of
Yeah.
her body language.
And the rest of the cult, the other sisters are loving it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
this is what happens.
Mm.
Yeah, and then Danny is raised up and carried on the deal,
Mm.
says Christian sulks. We get the superimposed sister.
Yep.
Another meal. The flies are starting to loiter, though, around the food.
Yeah.
Yes, this time.
Mm.
And I spoke about the conditions on the set. Yes, that was 2 out of 2
Yeah.
million flies and wasps and shit they
Oh,
had to deal with.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for dealing with it and giving us this film.
Yes.
Danny is held. Okay, Danny is head of the table now. Yes, for this another
Yep.
ceremonial meal, and she conducts the meal. Yeah, so she starts the meal. Everyone else picks up their knife and forks and continues. Her flower pulsates. Chris is tripping balls at this point.
And he has, again, he has
He's
no
barely
idea
in
what's
his own
going on.
skin, barely in his own
Yeah,
skin.
and he taps the guy next to him on the shoulder. He's like,
Yeah.
"Excuse me, what's going on?" And the guy just claps in his face,
And
and
the
he just kind of
pulse.
flinches.
Yeah.
Oh God, poor Christian at this point.
Chris is
Honestly,
fucked. Chris, you're done.
yeah,
Yeah, you're obviously the prey, because
yeah.
she is now family. You are family now, yes?
Yeah,
Family,
yeah,
yes?
yeah.
Cult.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris is the prey. Now, Maya coerces Chris to come to the mating ritual. Sorry, it's just my notes from last night. But he doesn't leave just yet. Danny definitely notices, though. Yes.
Yeah.
The May Queen rides alone in the carriage, though. Christian cannot come along with her female-only consorts. Yeah, they're on. They're driving the horses and they're doing like an Olympic thing with torches riding along the side. Yeah. The flower path is, whilst this is happening, while she goes off on a little victory lap, the flower path is prepared for Christian as per the tapestry, as the whole village standing at the table observes and just watches. Everybody's knows. Yeah. Okay. Weird whole dinner. That's my note. Do you know what I'm talking about? The weird whole dinner?
Yeah. It's a little ceremony that Danny, the newly crowned May Queen, does. They dig a hole and put some stuff in there.
Great stuff. Grains.
Yeah, it's stuff.
A nice porterhouse steak and crack an egg.
Yeah.
They're going to cook that? Hot rocks, honey.
I don't know.
I'm sure it comes from an actual something. It was just a very odd, funny moment, I thought. Okay, the mating ritual. Because he goes into the hall.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah.
Christian gets a hit of some fucking cool gas, fucking nitrous shit. I don't know. Before entering the main hall, he walks in and sees that he and Maya will not be alone. Hey, Dorian, they were not alone.
Yeah. Maya's naked and she's lying down.
Please,
in the center, and then just like in an arc, like standing like around her.
Semicircle,
just all these naked women of various different ages.
Yes.
So they're gonna have an audience.
Yeah.
Who have a very hands-on approach to it.
Yeah.
They get involved.
Okay. First of all, Christian is sealed as karmic fate with this. You're done. Karmically, you're done in terms of redeeming character.
Yeah, I mean,
you're done. You
he
have to
is
die
tripping.
after
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
he is
Yeah.
tripping balls. It was drugs that was forced upon him, so he is being coerced into participating in this. It is not something that he's doing like of his own free will. Just as a side point.
I think it's a bit of both. I definitely think it's column A, column B. I think he wants to do this.
He has not expressed an interest in fucking Maya
Yeah,
beforehand.
no. I think
He
he's
did
been
not.
eyeing. I think he's been
No.
eyeing him up,
No,
her
he
up
thought that
plenty.
he thought
Yeah.
that she was strange because she's, you know, this 15-year-old girl eyeing him
Oh,
up,
okay.
and he's
Okay.
thought that she's a bit weird, but that's it. He
Okay.
has no interest in fucking her.
I
And
think he
yeah, he's just
does.
been, yeah,
I
and now
think he
he's just tripping
does.
balls, has no idea what's going on, and now this
Okay.
is happening. Yeah.
All right. I
But he
think
was
we'll just
coerced into it.
I think we have to agree to disagree.
Mm,
Yeah, 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 because I think this is purely subjective, however you
mm,
look at it. Yeah. Um, Either way, he's fucked after this. Yeah.
yeah.
In terms of
Yeah.
a movie, he's fucked.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then we get to the woman singing to and supporting Maya. And it's
Yeah.
full on support. They come right
Mm,
down, grab her
yeah.
hands, and then just start singing this kind of like it's from fucking Frozen. This lilting, lovely melody.
Yeah.
And he's just like, excuse me?
Yeah.
What is happening? Okay, but then that's not all, Dorian. That's
Mm,
not all.
mm,
Because are you
yeah.
familiar
But
with
wait, there's more.
do you know Laurie Anderson? Superman?
Um,
It's the same melodic structure built up and down, arpeggio,
yeah.
I think it's called.
Yeah.
That she uses for her song Superman that they do for
Mm,
this harmonically syncopated
mm,
orgasm that their
yeah.
whole little
Yeah.
group here
Mm,
shares. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they turn it into a little musical moment. Yeah, that they
Yeah.
will share whilst Ruben is listening. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
kind of like a little spend a moment with
Yeah.
Ruben
He's
listening. Yeah.
nearby. Yeah. Mm,
Okay, stagecoach returns, timing, and
mm,
Danny hears the festivities. She's like, fuck you, bolts to the temple,
yeah.
and looks inside the door. And that's where we
Yeah.
get that classic, shot, that production, publicity still of her
Yeah.
looking into the temple through the little peephole in the door.
Mm,
Yeah, she sees all. Yeah, world
yeah.
end. Yeah, world end vision. Then she goes to scream cathartically with the
Mm,
village woman in response to what Danny has seen, and then they get into the
yeah.
rhythmic pulsing with
Mm,
of the screaming. It reminds me of I've talked about Antonian Artaud, my favorite theatre practitioner, the theatre of cruelty and that sort of shit. This sort of practice, this sort of group activity,
mm,
yeah, is the sort of shit you do with Artaud. So I really
mm.
responded strongly to this moment. Yeah. I find it very interesting that I'm Team Danny and you're Team Christian. Is that fair to say?
I'm not Team Christian. I just don't think that he deserves to
Is
die for
but I
what he
think
did.
that's yeah, okay. A better way to put it is that I think he's worse than you do. Yeah, I think he's worse than you do. I
Yeah.
think he's more of a
Yeah.
piece of shit than you do. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I was just thinking. Sorry.
Mm.
What did you think of the screaming scene? This
Oh,
response
yeah. I
to
mean,
what she sees of
yeah.
the infidelity.
It's iconic. And then also, like I said, like this is the first time she's actually felt like supported and had her like emotions, intense
Yes.
emotions and grief and everything
Yes. Really
validated and
supportive,
heard.
like
Yeah.
physically all there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Um, yeah. So that's a good thing, but
Mm.
that's also like we're just manipulating you to
Yeah.
really screwing in those,
Mm.
final,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Okay. Chris is beginning to wane at this point, they're doing. So
Yeah.
it gets the old butt assist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the women come up behind him and they're literally like hands on his ass and pushing him along.
Hilarious. I
Oh
mean,
my
come on.
God.
He finishes
Mm.
unceremoniously
Yeah. Yeah.
and then bolts into the clearing
Yeah.
in broad daylight
He's
with people
buck
everywhere.
naked.
Buck
Got
naked.
some full
Again,
frontal male
hilarious.
nudity.
Yep. And then he sees Josh's leg in the garden.
Yeah.
One thing I noted with that, this is which Pele was working in. What have you been up to? Oh, just working in the garden. It was the same spot. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Chris discovers Simon. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
All
like a
right.
blood eagle
It's
kind of
Blood
thing
Eagle.
going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
How cool is that shit?
And like,
Yeah.
yeah, and you
Cinematic.
can see that those lungs are still going.
Oh yeah, been meticulously
So
done.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
All
Simon's
practical,
body,
all
yeah.
practical. Yeah.
Yeah, so Christian comes across Simon's body, and essentially what a blood eagle is, it's like a Nordic thing that happened back in the day where through the back, like they did it in an episode of Hannibal as well. But
Yeah,
through
they
the
did.
back, cut open, and the lungs are kind of taken out and splayed open as though they're wings, kind of thing. Yeah, so
Strung
that's
up,
what's happened.
splayed,
Yeah.
face down. Yeah.
Yeah. So Simon's
Yep.
strung up like that, and his lungs are out through his back and exposed. And you can see that they're still inflating and deflating a little bit as well. He's got some little flowers on his eyes.
Yeah. I love the flowers. There was a very little bit of art house cinema, art house horror coming in there. Yeah. So point being that it's brutal, but it's also beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say? Yeah. Okay. He is blown, though, in the face with serpent and the rainbow zombie dust by male elders.
Yeah.
And they cheekily shut his eyelids because I'm assuming he cannot from this.
Yeah, he's
paralyzed
from that. Yeah.
Instantly. This cult's not cool. They're not good people either.
No.
Okay. This is a whole clearing of shit. This is a whole festival of dickheads. All right. Final ceremony. Hello. Are you there? Listen. You can't speak. You can't move. All right. Good. That's the pretty, very trippy T-girl from before. That seems to be her role in this cult. Sadistic thing that she is.
The drug pusher.
Yep. All right. 9 human lives have to be sacrificed in the spirit of reciprocity. Danny is to pick between one of the Hoga and one of her own. Yeah, you with me during this moment? Yep. Christian is sitting in the wheelchair front row. They're all on stage. It's very Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. Have you read that?
Yes.
They've even got one of those little lottery, spinning
it literally is a little lottery
tumbler things. But it's the Utka version because the balls come out with runes on them. Yeah. Wes Anderson moment. If there's one in this film, that was it. I like it though. I like it. Don't get me wrong. Okay, the Yellow Temple. Christian is placed inside the bear. Yeah. Again, this is iconic. Yeah, this is iconic.
So they've established that there's going to be sacrifices put in there. They've got basically all the people that have been killed, though they are going to be put into
the Yellow Temple. Yes,
into the temple. Like Mark's like skin. He's essentially a scarecrow. He's been stuffed up with
it's great. Hey,
a couple of the Haga. A couple of the Haga are going to be in there as sacrifices as well. And then it comes down to,
were they volunteers, if I remember?
Yeah, volunteers. Yep. And then when it came down to it, they did a little lottery, and it would be the person who was called up from the lottery or Christian, one or the other. And it was up to Danny to decide which one it was going to be. And then you just kind of see Danny looking at Christian, and then it kind
front row,
cuts to
paralyzed, and he knows she's going to pick him, and he is paralyzed.
Yes. So then it cuts to the bear that was in the cage. It's a bear. This guy is like teaching a bunch of young boys how to like
he is.
open the
Good
bear,
point.
and he's like,
lessons being passed down. Like the hammer,
make sure you don't like perforate the bowel. I'm like, that is any kind of animal, if you're dressing an animal, you need to make sure you don't do that. They're cutting open the inside of the bear, and they've got Christian there, And they essentially are like breaking his limbs or cutting his limbs off or something to that effect, so then he can fit inside
He
this
can
bear
fit
suit.
inside the bed. Yes, 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 yes.
He's completely paralyzed, but he can still
Yeah.
feel all this stuff. He's conscious while it's happening. He can't move though.
It's a good point. The two young students, they're learning how
Mm.
to do this with the bear like they did with the hammer, because this is a once
Mm.
every 90-year ceremony. Yeah.
Mm.
They think in the long term together
Yeah.
as a unit. Yeah. Which again is completely separate from what
Mm.
Danny entered into
Yeah.
the scenario with. Yeah.
Mm.
Completely. Yeah. Different, polar opposite. Yeah. Okay. And then the a soaring non-diegetic score begins to swell. We're building up to the climax. Yeah, this is like we had at the start. This is kind of like the big emotional ending. Okay. A natural painkiller. What was it called? Sap of the yew or
Yeah,
something.
some tree. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
of the
they
yew.
put all of these sacrifices into the big yellow A-frame building that was out on the outskirts.
It's a
And
total
to the
placebo,
two,
though.
yeah,
Total
yeah, to the
placebo.
two people who
Yeah.
are still, part of the Haga, they've given them something that's, gonna make it so then they don't hurt. And then and Christian's there in this bear suit, just
Yeah, his face is sticking out. The face is gone. It's
God,
his face.
Yeah,
The snout on top of his head.
Yeah.
That children, if you've never seen the image,
yeah.
it's fucking hilarious.
And then I love Danny's big flower dress. She looks like a slug.
Oh, a what? A slug?
A slug. Yeah, a slug.
I guess so. And
She's
the shape,
a
the
flower
geometrical
slug.
shape is.
Yeah, it's like a slug, especially as she's like moving along because it's so big. Yeah,
and she's
but then
screaming with it. I love that though. That's one of my favorite little sequences, little shots. Yeah.
Yeah, but then they set it on fire.
Not to jump ahead, yes, they set it on fire. They're placebos though, they're lies. Like the cult is living a lie at the same time. This moment when that guy starts actually screaming, what the fuck?
In
it
pain,
calls out that moment that this is all bullshit. This is all madness. Yeah.
And then everyone is watching
bluntly,
and
but everyone's watching and reacting
they're
like
all
they did with the
screaming
other
in
one. They're
pain
screaming
and all
in
that kind of
pain.
stuff. Yeah.
I remember I think it's Pretty Trippy Girl.
She looks happy.
Yeah.
Ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
I think she's high on her own supply.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she loves this shit. She's going to become a leader. She's a future leader of this cult. That chicky. I put the cult screams and rides in glee in response to the burning. And then, and Danny's watching.
Yeah,
and
she's
she's
struggling to move.
Her fucking iconic response, though, because this is the final shot of the movie, Dorian.
Oh, I love
now,
this
bringing it up. I'm bringing it up as we're going here because she's sad at first, like super.
Yeah, she looks horrified. Yeah, she's horrified.
A mixture of misery and fear and grief, and then slowly their frown turns upside fucking down. And I'm just going to bring
and
it
the
up.
music at the same time,
and the music at the same time that's building with it. Yes. But we saw this image earlier on as a transposition in between shots earlier on of this final image here, but she was looking more freaked out, but not anymore because she's really happy. She is the May Queen. She is home. She has found family. She has lost her goddamn mind. The choice is yours. It's up to your interpretation, children. But that's the final shot. That's how it ends. Then there's credits, black and white credits, text, cheesy 1960s love song. It's the ultimate breakup movie, I tell you.
Yes.
It's the ultimate anti-romantic comedy. Just get rid of that. Yeah, okay, we're there. Fuck, it's done.
Yes.
We're at the end. We did the director's cut of Midsommar, Dorian. Yeah. Praise us, children. This is just fucking to get to the fucked up shit. Yeah. But that's all right because I love this movie and it was good to look into it deeper and find out even more shit with each watching of this movie. And there's so much research you could do into it, It's one of those films. It's a horror that is in the Cinema Criterion collection and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And we need that as much as we need the trauma films like Shakespeare's shit. And both are important. All right, that's it. 4 out of 5, not quite perfect. Does lull in occasion in the second
Mm.
act, as it's very hard
Mm.
not to have anything lull in a second
Yeah.
act. So, but
Yeah.
little bits and pieces I won't go into because blah blah blah. We've spent enough time on it. But it is very fucking delicious. Yes, it is
Yes.
very fucking delicious. Not quite evil, but very fucking delicious.
Mm.
I'm going to give it a break for a while because I watched this intensely over the
Yeah.
past couple of days. But we'll happily come back to it in the future, and would like to own the Blu-ray with all the fancy stuff that comes with it. Yeah, check that out if you are interested there, children. Own physical media, it's disappearing.
Yes.
And yeah, so absolutely 4 out of 5. Dorian, what say you?
Yep.
Midsommar.
4 out of 5 as well.
You're going 4 out of 5? I'm going
Yep.
4.5. Sorry if I didn't specify. 4.5.
4 out of 5 for me.
4 out of 5. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's strong rating. Absolutely. I'm glad we touched on it. Definitely. Whoa.